This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
In the bustling and often cynical world of modern cinema, where complexity and profundity reign supreme, there emerges a cinematic masterpiece that defines convention and challenges the very essence of storytelling. In a landscape dominated by drama and introspection, we follow an unlikely duo as they craft a narrative that's as intellectually stimulating as it is hilariously asinine. Step into a world where the line between genius and imbecility blurs, where the pursuit of love and fortune becomes an uproarious adventure that will leave you questioning the very essence of intelligence. This film that proves that sometimes in the realm of cinema, the most profound moments are the ones that make you laugh till your sides hurt and tears stream down your face. Ladies and gentlemen, we present Dumb and Dumber.
Is that Nicole Kidman?
Bravo.
Is that her reading ad?
Yeah.
Okay,
Go to the theaters, everybody. Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zach.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last show, our condiment tiering show.
Saucy.
Condiment.
Controversial condiment tiering.
Condiment tiering. I
Yes.
think Valerie Lovelace Ilguth best says it. I went from thinking that maybe you guys had run out of episode ideas to having an intense craving for the barbecue pulled pork in my fridge.
Yep.
I want that.
Really, it sounds delicious. And of course, you did a good job of making this a fun episode all the way through. I'll never doubt again. That's right, you won't.
That's part 1 of 2, by the way.
Specific sauces.
Ridiculous.
Todd Callan says, who knew an hour and a half about condiments could be so interesting? Hot sauce is number 1 for me.
Okay.
I put it on everything. It started to become a problem since I almost can't enjoy food without it. I travel with the hot sauce packets and have stashed bottles at my parents, in-laws, and even work, so I'm never caught without it.
I don't know if you saw this, but Spencer said there he uses
Yes.
a mix of balsamic vinegar and Cholula.
Yes,
half
I
and
saw
half.
this. I have to try it.
I have to try it.
I absolutely have to
Okay.
try it.
Yeah.
And then finally, and very simply, Shane Hyatt says, barbecue sauce is good with mac and cheese.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's yummy.
Also, not to get too ahead of ourselves on the specific condiment show, but Heinz 57 and macaroni and cheese. Just saying.
Really? Okay.
I'm not big into steaks. Huh?
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
We're getting deadly serious with the drama of dramas.
Kent, too soon. Too soon, Kent.
Is it too soon?
Yes, you just watched that too. You know.
I don't
You
even want
know.
to talk about it, actually.
Yes, but we've done action of action movies, comedy of comedies, and now we are going to delve into the drama.
Drama of drama.
Now, drama, I mean, originally,
Yeah.
drama just meant a performance of
Right.
sort, a dramatic recreation, a dramatic performance.
And now it means like, gossip and stuff and talking behind each other's
Drama.
backs. That's not my drama.
T.
Please just never
Do
again.
you want us to do that the whole show
Zach,
like that?
We're so hip. But
Like Valley Girls.
in narrative fiction, drama is intended to be more serious than humorous in tone.
Yeah.
Big surprise.
We often
That's what
talk about
Wikipedia
this
says.
because we talk about the Oscars for a couple weeks every year, and we go, yeah, of course, only the big dramatic movies get nominated for something,
yeah.
right? And we're like, can it be something else? Can it be something a little bit more of a crowd pleaser?
Very rarely does an action movie, comedy movie, or horror movie ever enter the sphere of even nominations, and even more rarely do they win.
And you want to know why?
Why?
Because these movies are better. These are good movies.
Honestly, hands down, they're better.
No,
They're better, more fulfilling, more satisfying experiences.
I'm not going to downplay the importance of comedy in life.
Dumb and Dumber.
I remember
in
one
our
time.
comedy
I
bracket.
wish I could remember which actor it was, but one actor got kind of
Yeah.
nominated, and they asked, was it very difficult, like doing this dramatic role? He says, no. He said,
Yeah.
it was so much easier in comedy. Do you know what I was thinking of in that scene? I was thinking of what I was going to get from the craft services table, and that's the clip they showed in the Oscars.
yeah. It's often been said that comedy is harder than dramas.
But I do also believe this will be less controversial,
Yes.
than our comedy of comedies, because while comedy, there's a variety of tastes involved, whether you like
Extremely
slapstick or
subjective.
farce or satire, whereas drama, it's much more universal in the sense of many people like it.
Whether it's your cup of tea or not,
Spill the tea, Zach.
you can, please no. You
Drama.
can, more often than not, you can walk away from a movie and go, that was good.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say, I liked it, I enjoyed it, I had fun. But you can walk away and say, that was good.
But you walk away from a drama and you say, that changed my life.
You should. Oftentimes, you'll say, oh, wow, I'm still thinking about that movie, right? It's stuck with
those
me.
kind of movies only come around probably every 2 or 3 years, right? And we're not talking about the best film of all time here. We're not. We're just talking about...
Not yet.
Guys. But we're talking about which movie was the most successful at being a drama.
Yes.
At providing that, which doesn't mean it doesn't have comedy, right?
No, because drama is such a broad term. We've mentioned it before that there's basically very widely two genres: Comedy, drama.
Right.
Comedy makes you laugh, drama does not. But even drama, people have said it's too broad of a term. So people like to break it down. Like, for example, you're going to get legal drama or political drama or soap opera or police crime drama or historical drama, domestic drama, teen drama, comedy drama.
Mama drama.
Rom-com drama. But there are so many different flavors of dramas. And what we did was we went out there to you. Instead of trying to pick these ourselves, we went to you, the listener. We collected all of your submissions.
And you failed us.
You came through
No.
with a lot of good choices and a few glaring omissions.
So many great choices that these matchups are all kind of final round matchups.
Yeah.
Once we get past the first round, they're going to be incredibly hard. But there are some notable omissions.
Yes. But we did create a bracket of 32 submissions, which you can find at baconsale.com so you can print this out and play at home. But for the most part, we were very pleased with your submissions. And I also love to see a variety, meaning they're not all like, the best ones of the last 10 years. It's like we actually ranged. The oldest submission we got, 1939.
Love it.
Which was just before I was born.
The oldest one worth watching, 1942.
Save it.
Look at there.
But Gone with the Wind was the oldest. The newest one, you guys know what the newest one was?
2010.
2017.
17?
Apparently that's not like, because we did cut out some because they
Really?
were too new, but 2017's Dunkirk made it in.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then-
Oppenheimer was thrown in there, but Joel, you haven't seen it yet.
And I still think it's too new. We've only got Initial Impact. We haven't got Lasting
Also,
Legacy.
It's going to be on there eventually.
Very curious because I would say 40% of these movies on this list are rated R. And have people seen them throughout time? Like, have they seen them on TV or
You see only 40%? You think?
yeah, well, maybe 40 or 50%.
And 30% of them are directed by Christopher Nolan.
Thank you
They
for
were
that.
the lone ones.
Yeah, so I'm curious.
And one more stat I just want to give. The average year of submissions from the listener to our bracket, 1994.
Okay.
Which
Makes
to
sense.
me, that's a pretty good spread. That's not
Yeah.
too new. It's not too young. It's right there.
There's a lot of mid-90s movies.
Well, there's a lot of Steven Spielberg movies directed at that exact time.
But to your point, Kent, there's a lot of movies that are TNT, TBS, USA Network regulars.
Yes.
Right? These are R-rated movies that play on TV a lot.
Yes. But we are going to be doing these in bracket form, meaning we're going to whittle this list of 32 items down to one winner of the drama of dramas. And it's a simple 2 out of 3 votes gets it to move through.
I'm always going to vote first, so I don't have to be the tiebreaker ever.
No, I'm not going to let you.
Please?
Not every time. Sometimes.
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, I love this positivity coming from Joel because
It's
I have to because I'll tell you what, some of
if
these
you're
were...
going to be calling us names.
I cried so many times while watching so many movies.
We'll talk about it on
movies.
specific
What did
movies.
I say when we did our comedies bracket, guys? Before we even started.
We're all friends.
Oh, I love you guys.
We love you guys so
We're
much.
such good friends.
Yeah.
This is so fun.
All right, you idiots. Let's
Now-
get through this.
There it is.
Now, one thing we need to remember, we are doing the drama of dramas bracket. We're not doing the movie of movies. So you might say, well, one's a better movie, but which one's the better drama?
Okay.
With that, our first matchup.
TNT presents.
Yeah. Turner Classic Movies gives you The Shawshank Redemption.
Over the course of several years, 2 convicts form a friendship, seeking consolation and eventually redemption through basic compassion. I don't really like that summary, IMDb.
Versus The Road.
In a dangerous post-apocalyptic world, an ailing father defends his son as they slowly travel to the sea.
Now, see, that actually, from the description, sounds like the better movie.
It's exactly the story. It's that simple.
We should
But
also
it's-
clarify, by the way, with these submissions, we stripped the names out, so we don't remember who submitted them, so it's strictly based on the
And
movie.
it's been a while because I tell you what, I hadn't seen most of these. Why does that description sound so happy and The Road is so not?
It is maybe one of the least happy movies ever made.
Ever made.
Is it? Oh, is it too grim?
Yes.
Well, The Road, starring Viggo
overly.
Mortensen and Cody Smith-McPhee.
Yeah.
Came out in 2009.
Is that Nanny's? Nanny
Nanny
Yes.
McPhee's nephew.
This one didn't do very
Yes.
well at the box office, by the way. Oh, we should also clarify on the bracket that you're now looking at, because you printed it off at baconsale.com and you're playing along. It is seated according to IMDb ranking, being the score it got on IMDb, the
Yes.
Internet Movie Database. Kind of an objective way to put movies against each other, and this is just kind of how it fell.
Now, The Road wasn't meant to be a crowd pleaser at all. It's meant to be an art house
Cormac McCarthy.
movie. Yeah. The book is incredible, but also one of the most grim books I've ever read. And I thought, why are they making this into a movie? Who's going to want to see this? And truly, having now seen it twice,
Yes.
I'm sad that I saw it a second time because
Yes.
it's literally gray the entire time. It's smoky. The performance by Viggo Mortensen is great. One-time watch.
There's a bit of regret in me for watching this one. I really didn't.
Is it because...
I didn't watch it with maybe I wasn't in the right mood. Because I did
Yeah.
feel a little bit. This is a grim feeling movie, and it does leave you feeling a little bit icky. And so you have
and
to
hopeless?
and hopeless.
Yes.
There's not in stark comparison to the other movie on this list, which is about hope and is about perseverance.
Shawshank Redemption.
This movie doesn't leave you with a lot of the feel goods, and
No.
I do think it succeeds in allowing you to maybe think about it after. It does leave you with certain feelings. I just didn't really care.
It's lived in.
Yeah, I didn't care for the feelings it left me with.
Yeah.
Joel.
I'm voting for Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, really?
That's
are we.
a clean sweep.
Yep.
We'll give more fun facts on that later. Shawshank Redemption moves on.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright.
Next, we have Gone with the Wind.
A sheltered and manipulative Southern belle and a roguish profiteer face off in a turbulent romance as the society around them crumbles at the end of slavery and is rebuilt during the Civil War and Reconstruction periods. This stars Vivian Leigh and Clark Gable. You don't really know those actors, maybe, but you
should.
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
This came out in 1939. This is our oldest one, and the longest runtime, by the way, at 221 minutes.
And a very long intro for that movie. Appropriate. And No Country for Old Men.
Violence and mayhem ensue after a hunter stumbles upon a drug deal gone wrong and more than $2 million in cash near the Rio Grande. This is directed by the Coen Bros.
2007?
Yeah, 2007.
Yeah.
It stars Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem,
Oh, he does it.
Friendo, and Josh Brolin.
Oh, yeah. I guess he's in it, too.
2007 was a crazy year because we have this There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood.
It was
Notably missing.
It was a very bleak year.
Yes, it was.
Which is the better drama? Which is the more all-time movie? I mean, probably Gone with the
I mean,
Wind.
we talk about Gone with the Wind
We have
recently.
talked about Gone with the Wind.
As one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
The highest grossing movie of all time, adjusted for inflation.
Why?
It is epic.
Right.
It is epic, like the definition of epic. Like I said, this one in 10 Commandments that goes, it's like, this deserves the term epic.
These both have the same score on IMDb, 8.2. It's actually, you look at IMDb scores, and by the way, I'm not going to mention Rotten Tomatoes probably ever again. IMDb, maybe not much better, but if you get above a 7.1 in a movie, that means like generally people are very positive.
It's hard to get below a 6 on IMDb, but getting above a 7 and getting above an 8, difficult.
I misunderstood you, Kent, because I love the score for No Country for Old Men. The music in that movie is outstanding. None of it.
The lack of music.
Right,
in that movie.
The Wind is the score for that movie. Which
The Wind and also your own fear and sweating.
Your own fear and this.
Can I tell you?
Oh, that sound.
Yeah, call it. So here's the thing about No Country for Old Men. The first time I saw it, I was so frustrated with the ending. So frustrated.
Because it's an ambiguous Coen Brothers ending? By the way, we're going to try and dance around some spoilers on the show.
We're trying not to spoil too many of it. But I'll just say this, that it's building towards this expected ending, and then it takes a complete left turn, and you don't actually get to see the final climax.
Because there is ambiguity there.
Yes.
I'm right where you were still. I think it literally falls apart. It's such a compelling, unpredictable movie, and then falls apart. The wind is taken from the sails.
But and
then it ends on a Tommy Lee Jones speech. I like the movie.
You think it really trips at the end?
It totally trips up.
But have you read the novel, by the way?
No.
Really well done. It's very similar. The ending is not much different.
Okay.
But the way Cormac McCarthy, once again, a Cormac McCarthy novel.
So, of course, there's no hope.
But it's about the journey rather than the destination. And once I kind of got that in my head as I watched it the second time and third time, it was just kind of like, okay, I'm really feeling the emotion.
The journey's cool, but also Gone with the Wind being this relationship drama in the midst of a really harrowing time in history, I think it does have more of the drama.
There is nothing as
moments.
compelling in Gone with the Wind as Anton Chigurh.
Okay, but that's a villain.
No,
that's
what the
dramatic
city's on
tension,
fire, though. Like the city on fire moment. You think back of 1939 and how they had to put it all together. There's something awe-inspiring about that moment.
So you're thinking the meta, not the movie.
But no, is it as terrifying as Anton Chigurh, Javier Bardem's hair? No, but his haircut is one of of the worst haircuts in history.
He is the best Two-Face ever.
He is.
You guys are both making the same hand forward motion to me, and I'm feeling attacked.
Make it back.
Hold on, pull him back. There we go.
I'm going to vote for Gone with the Wind in this regard, only because it has lasted in legacy for much longer and is still known and talked about. And it is a compelling Civil War drama. No Country for Old Men, I really do like, and that's why I wanted to give it its due. But I don't think people talk about it anymore. I don't think people care about it anymore, which is kind of sad because it is a very well done drama.
It's so close to being a modern classic.
Yeah.
But I think misses it just a little bit. I think the back and forth, and granted there's so much dialogue in Gone with the Wind that a lot of it's wasted, but I think what works is everything between Rhett and Scarlett. And I think that is more dramatic. And so that's also my vote.
And it is much more like, okay, No Country for Old Men, there's drama in the hunt. There's one person chasing another. Well, and someone else chasing them too. But in Gone with the Wind, there's romantic drama and there's kind of the war drama going on as well.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to give it the edge here.
Zach, do you want to give a pity vote?
Oh, I'm not even giving a pity vote. I would rather watch No Country for Old Men. That's not saying much.
Yeah.
Because neither one of them are like, I'm going to sit down and watch these movies.
Sure.
But I just think that Anton Chigurh is just so ridiculously compelling. And I agree. The ending is I don't like the ending of most Coen Brothers movies.
Yeah.
To be honest. Most. Still, the character is wildly compelling. That said, this movie is probably best left to YouTube clips of the best scenes.
Yeah,
but
I
I
agree.
will still
There's some
vote for
good
No
parts
Country for
of it,
Old
yeah.
Men out of pity. However, Gone with the Wind moves on.
Fiddle-dee-dee.
Next, we have a very fair and normal matchup. Not weird at all.
Thank you, IMDb and listener.
Saving Private Ryan.
Following the Normandy landings, a group of U.S. soldiers go behind enemy lines to retrieve a paratrooper whose brothers have been killed in action.
So let's see. Next up was it Life is Beautiful? No. Dunkirk? No. Oh, Drive.
A mysterious Jigsaw? A mysterious Hollywood action film stuntman gets in trouble with gangsters when he tries to help his neighbor's husband rob a pawn shop while serving as his getaway driver. And so we have, obviously, Saving Private Ryan with Steven Spielberg directing.
Yes,
Spielberg
and
directing. Tom Hanks.
Drive, we have Nicholas Winding Refn, and starring Ryan Gosling and The Jacket. And Carey Mulligan.
The Jacket, Carey Mulligan.
Yeah.
Albert Brooks with no eyebrows.
Bryan Cranston's in it, too. And Christina
Bryan
Hendricks.
Cranston.
So Drive, let's give a little love there because it's not moving on.
Not at all.
It's based on a novel of the same name. It was nominated for Best Sound Editing Academy Awards.
Deservingly so.
I didn't like it. I came close to liking Drive, but I didn't like it.
It was my number one film of 2011.
I remember.
Yeah.
And
Instant iconography.
Hey, props to
in
it for
every
having the
single way.
shortest runtime of any other movie on this list.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And I love the soundtrack.
Oh,
But
it's
I
so
do love
good.
the soundtrack.
But you talk about this.
Pop.
It was nominated in sound design,
Sound editing.
sound editing, strictly because of the elevator. Holy moly.
Oh boy.
Mercy.
Like the only really violent scene in the entire
And
movie.
mostly made violent by the sound.
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
Like,
But it is a detached movie with Ryan Gosling's nearly mute character.
Yeah.
Like there's almost no emotion there, and which is the character, but it does take away from the drama. And kind of like you're in Carey Mulligan's shoes going, who is this guy?
yeah.
What is his motive here?
Is this a drama? Does this
Yeah, it's not-
qualify?
It's hard because there's dramatic tension. I think a lot of movies here are
Right.
dramatic tension
It
based.
is. I would.
There's action.
By process of elimination, it is a drama because it's not a comedy. Obviously, it does not have very much action. When it does, it does.
There be some killing in this.
There is, but it's not like the primary thing. The primary thing is ambience and mood. So I'm going to say it is a drama.
Okay. And it's a good one. It's worth watching for
I
sure.
love it, but Saving Private Ryan wins.
Listen to the soundtrack; you'll love it.
Oh, so I take it we're all voting
Yeah,
Yes, we are.
yeah.
correctly. And with that, Saving Private Ryan moves on. Now we have a matchup that actually makes a lot more sense. Life is Beautiful.
Buongiorno, Principessa. When an open-minded Jewish waiter and his son become victims of the Holocaust, he uses a perfect mixture of will, humor, and imagination to protect his son from the dangers around their camp. This is directed by Roberto Benigni and starring Roberto Benigni.
He's the guy that's in Pinocchio, right?
Oh, wow.
The live
That's the
action one,
movie?
yes.
Yeah.
This came out in 1997.
Versus Dunkirk.
Allied soldiers from Belgium, the British Commonwealth, and France are surrounded by the German army and evacuated during a fierce battle in World War II. Directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Fionn Whitehead, Tom Hardy, and Mark Rylance.
This is and Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy. Don't forget Cillian Murphy.
Oh,
in that
yeah,
movie.
Cillian Murphy. That role. Oof.
Yeah. This matchup is interesting because Life is Beautiful. It's also comedy, and comedy is divisive. And some people are not going to enjoy Roberto Benigni's slapsticky kind of Three Stooges almost like comedy where it's like
Where are you talking more about the tonal inconsistency? Because I think the point of the movie is to inject comedy into a horrible situation.
Yes.
But
There
there
is
is
seeing light in the darkness.
But
for
there is
sure.
a first half of this movie where he's trying to court his love, and it just feels like a different movie altogether.
well, and I think that was intentional. I think I went into this movie
Giving
not,
a background?
not knowing what it's about,
Right.
and being like, oh, this is from the clips. I'm like, oh, lighthearted comedy. This will be fun. And it's I think this is the first foreign film I saw in theaters.
I think it's first foreign film a lot of us saw.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I hate reading at movies.
and now all of us turn on subtitles.
Yeah.
On everything we watch.
every movie.
But then me and my friend were watching it, and then it takes the turn where it's like this lighthearted, hey, these are nice people. This is him and who he is and his personality. And then they get put into a concentration camp, and it takes this really serious turn. And even though he's still trying his best to be lighthearted for his son, there's a cool shift he does as a performer of you can see that he's having pain behind his eyes, but he's still trying to make his son feel comfortable.
So you're defending the comedic choices of this movie.
I am.
Are you defending using World War II and the Holocaust in this entire bracket? Because it almost seems too easy. Movies about World War II, it's too easy.
But is it easy? It's okay. It's easy to be dramatic, but
great.
it's hard to watch.
Oh, it's
like
very hard
these
to
are
watch.
very hard to watch.
But I
movies.
mean, is it like forcefully giving you heavy emotions because it's about World War II and everything that's built around? Like, is that manipulative?
I don't think it's manipulative.
I think it is a setting that has a lot of complexity to it from a lot of different layers. So we literally have 2 World War II movies here that are dealing with different ends. You know,
Yeah.
they are not telling the same story over the same time.
I think wow. I think
because then Dunkirk is like it's
Dunkirk. You're in it. You're feeling like you're in battle.
One of the most tense movies I've ever seen.
And you're not
Yes.
getting the story as much, right?
The story's confusing.
Because the story, it doesn't really follow characters with names. You kind of just follow 3 different plots.
You're following a vibe. Really.
Yeah, you're following a vibe.
3 different vibes.
But you're in the battle, and so the dramatic stakes are there. You're just not invested in any particular character. And maybe that works against it.
Dunkirk is a brilliant movie, but it does fall short from a narrative perspective.
Well, because
I don't
Christopher
think
Nolan-
it's trying to tell a
Christopher
story.
Nolan was trying something with time dilation.
Yeah.
And,
What?
And
Time?
showing,
What?
Yes, he messed with time where you see like this mission only takes an hour. This one takes days. This one takes a week or whatever it was.
Which is confusing if you don't know.
Yeah, and if you don't know, you're like, wait, where are they in relation to that? But at the same time, when it hits right, it hits right. There's some horrifying scenes in Dunkirk.
Truly.
That made me just on the edge of my seat.
Well, even a short performance by Tom Hardy in the plane. Like, you feel it. For the short time that he's in the movie,
Yeah.
you're worried about
Over the
him.
course of the hour that...
He was boarded the plane.
Jeez.
You merely attempted it.
Yes, he has a mask on.
Of course he does.
My vote here is for Life is Beautiful.
Okay.
Simply because I think that movie, like I said, I think comedy is a way for people to open up their hearts. You make them laugh, you open up their heart, and then you sock them in the heart.
Wow.
And that's kind of what this movie did to me.
You punch him right in the heart?
Right in the heart.
Wow.
Because this movie deals with Elso, and it's a father's sacrifice for his child. He is doing everything in his power, even if it hurts him, to protect his child and their innocence. And there's something about that just appealed to me so much. I do like Dunkirk. I think it's a well-made movie. But in the drama of dramas, the one that affected me more emotionally was Life is Beautiful.
All right, Kalima. I think
Said
that...
punch, not pull.
Oh, that's right. No, I think that you were kind of setting it up earlier, that the tonal shift, right? This reminds me of another movie later on this list where you establish a human element and then you jump into a tragedy. And I think that's what this does well. There's more connection to character than in Dunkirk. And at the end of the day, I think Life is Beautiful succeeds at being a drama. I would put Dunkirk more into the action drama category. My takeaway is tension, but not story.
And I think Dunkirk is one I would easily rewatch. Because there's so many
I need to rewatch
visual
it again.
things happening.
2 movies on a shelf. I'd rather watch Dunkirk. Also, Life is Beautiful is less accessible.
Yeah.
It's harder to get. It's a little harder to
also,
watch.
It does bring more emotions, and that is why it's probably a clean sweep for Life is Beautiful.
Wow, really? I thought
Yeah.
for sure you were going to pick
No,
Dunkirk.
like I said, I'm probably going against all my heart choices.
Wow. Again, you're so mature.
Oh, now? Now?
You're so mature.
It took 9 seasons, but it's there.
Because they chose Roberto Benigni jumping over chairs in the Oscars.
Pinocchio moves on.
That's not what it is. Say it right.
Sorry, Life is Beautiful moves on.
Buongiorno, principessa.
Now we have Fight Club.
An insomniac office worker and a devil-may-care soap maker form an underground fight club that evolves into much more.
What a
weird
sounds like a
synopsis.
rom-com.
What a weird title for a very weird movie.
Devil May Care soap maker.
I love
Let's
IMDb
make
soap,
that.
yeah.
That was 97?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
1999.
Sorry, I should. This is 99 stars Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter.
Fincher?
Yep. David Fincher.
Directed by David Fincher.
What else can I say?
With a question?
Versus Count of Monte Cristo?
A young man falsely imprisoned by his jealous friend, in quotes,
Sorry, Pierce.
escapes and uses a hidden treasure to exact his revenge. And this is directed by Kevin Reynolds.
Who cares?
Who
He
did
Robin Hood-
Waterworld
Robin Hood Prince of Thieves.
and Waterworld.
Hey, Kent. Do your worst. Henry Cavill's in this movie.
Yeah.
He's a baby.
He's a baby.
Baby Henry
He's so
Cavill.
cute.
His teeth are somehow worse.
He's so cute, though. He's got a baby face.
at him, he's
Yeah.
little Henry.
But he's still handsome.
He's Hank Cavill in this one.
Hank.
Yeah, Hank. This
almost feels like a swashbuckler. Count of Monte Cristo feels like a swashbuckler.
Does it feel like a really like soft PG-13 sort of like? Yeah, it doesn't feel like a drama to
This
me.
feels like a diet epic.
A diet epic is a great synopsis.
Diet
Like
It's an epic, but it's not as epic as
this
the
is one
grandiose ones.
that I've had several movie nights where I'm like, you guys just want to watch Count of Monte Cristo? Like, yeah, that seems fun enough. It seems fun enough.
It's because you like Mercedes.
Oh, yeah.
She's really pretty.
I have a sword that I named Sadie after Mercedes.
Really?
I do.
Now, Fight Club.
Now Fight Club.
Kent, you love this movie.
Love.
Is this
This
still
is-
your
this is your
favorite?
number one
Is this,
favorite movie.
up there with Matrix top 2?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I haven't rewatched this movie in over a decade because I'm worried it'll be taken down a
You didn't
notch.
watch it in prep for this?
No.
Kent,
Because I did, Kent.
I'm terrified.
Well,
to say.
you did?
I did. Because I didn't like this movie. Mm-hmm. And then I started watching this movie. In preparation for the show, I started watching this movie, and I'm like,
when did you first see it, Joel?
college era. So shortly after it came out.
When did you first see it, Kent?
1999, and it changed my cinematic outlook.
Okay, what happened with your rewatch, Joel?
So I watched this movie just recently, and as it began, I was like, man, maybe I was too harsh on this movie. Like, I've always said I don't like it. But it was kind of like, okay, this
You've got to
is kinda
admit
fun.
that visually and creatively, this movie goes
Editing
above and beyond.
and visuals are fun.
And executing a vision of a world.
But then
There's no-
the movie
and
kept
then-
going, and it kept going,
And it gets better.
and it kept worse and worse.
How?
And I got to the end, and I went, "Yep, still don't like it."
I would imagine, much like me, watching it later in life, watching it as a fully grown, mature adult with
Not an angsty teen.
responsibilities.
Yes.
You've passed your phase of anarchy. This movie, I think, is meant for your early 20s.
I think this movie is before its time and actually signifies a lot of people on the internet today.
No, I actually completely
and
agree
I
with you.
don't think it's outdated. I think it's as relevant
A
as
lot
ever.
of a lot of the themes, the commercialism and things like that, they resonate today.
I
For
just
sure.
the way Tyler Durden spouts off the pseudo philosophical kind of like your breakfast cereals are made by tigers in the jungles of Malaysia who are forced into slave labor, and I'm like, whatever, dude,
Yeah.
whatever.
This movie is as self-important as The Matrix, and like both are awesome,
I
and
think
both
in a good way, though.
both are Kent's like
But
top
I'm
two
not.
movies.
I'm not here to bash on your choice, Kent.
Okay.
Or on your favorite movie, because I would not do that.
Right.
I'm just saying it's not for me. If you love this movie so much, I think that's perfectly fine, and I understand the reason
Now,
why.
and I'm going to make a case here. I'm asking just to push it one round because I know it's not going to go much further. I think Count of Monte Cristo is a soft epic, and epic is like lowercase fine print. There's nothing memorable about that movie other than Jim Caviezel does a good job in it. Guy Pearce is the best part of the
awful.
movie.
Like, excuse
yeah,
me.
no, he's a good villain.
Awful in a bad. Like
Yeah, awful.
you love to hate him.
He's memorable. The movie really isn't. The movie just kind of
Richard Harris.
I
Yeah,
love Richard Harris.
he's fine.
Well, and I like
Louise
the story,
Guzman?
but that's
No,
that's the worst part.
Hey,
that is the one reason I wouldn't want to vote for Count of Monte Cristo because Louise Guzman.
I really hate that
I think the story based on the classic novel is good.
and they changed it a lot.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't really have.
They make it a lot more popcorn friendly.
It's
Oh, do.
it's very popcorn. Whereas I think Fight Club, there's something with the main character and that plot and changing so much there. There's danger in this movie.
I can appreciate.
and I feel it.
I can appreciate the impact that Fight Club had on pop culture and teenage dorm rooms everywhere.
You're right.
But I'm voting for Count of Monte Cristo.
Of course.
I think it is one of the few literary dramas that we have here. And when I say literary dramas, a lot of these are based on books. I'm talking like classic literature. And I like that. So I'm voting for that. even
I
though
think
Louise
David
Guzman-
Fincher took everything in this movie, whether it's score, visuals, editing, acting, and he made it a solid, complete picture, which I feel like has dramatic stakes in it, far more than Count of Monte Cristo, which is a
Isaac-
Saturday afternoon movie.
I feel like I've outgrown Fight Club.
I get it.
I feel like I've grown up past it. And
Have you
that's-
grown into Count of Monte Cristo?
And I think
though?
I've grown into Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh no!
Right? Like I feel like it's
It's like de-evolving.
it's are we on?
No,
I just finished mowing the lawn. Is this on TBS?
I didn't know.
Wait,
All
so
right,
you've
here we
become
go.
the $5 bin guy?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, that doesn't mean it's the best dramatic movie, though.
I don't find the drama compelling in Fight Club. I think that Fight Club finds itself compelling.
It is.
And I think that, it's just, Count of Monte Cristo is the classic revenge tale. It's simple.
But done poorly.
I don't think it's done poorly.
It is
at
done
all.
yeah.
No. It's
Yes.
a little paint by numbers, but not done poorly.
I mean, make your choice. I'm not pushing Fight Club to the end. I want you guys to know that.
I didn't want to have to feel like I had to take a shower after watching Count of Monte Cristo. I had to take 7 after.
But did you want to watch a good movie after it?
I'll never watch Fight Club again.
Okay.
So I'm going to watch Count of Monte Cristo. I'm taking Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay. All right.
I did my worst.
I get it. I fought for it.
You did, and you fought
You
valiantly.
punched it in the face as hard as you could.
Almost considered but I just can't. I'm too much of a dad. Sorry.
You've changed.
I have. The Count of Monte Cristo moves on.
I don't believe in God.
It doesn't matter. He believes in you.
Now we have, oh boy, Citizen Kane.
Following the death of publishing tycoon Charles Foster Kane, reporters scrambled to uncover the meaning of his final utterance, Rosebud.
Directed by Orson Welles, starring Orson Welles.
Oh, wow.
Came out in 1941.
That's actually really fitting in this matchup. We also have Dances with Wolves.
It really is. Lieutenant John Dunbar, assigned to a remote Western Civil War outpost, finds himself engaging with a neighboring Sioux settlement, causing him to question his own purpose.
And this directed by Kevin Costner and starring Kevin Costner and Mary McDonnell.
We're going to have
Green.
a string of that here for a second.
Came out in 1990. So
90?
1990 is when Dances with
Oh,
Wolves came
earlier
out.
than I thought.
Isn't it weird with Dances with Wolves? I was 9 when that movie came out, and I was too young to enjoy a movie like that. But why did we, as kids, enjoy Dances with Wolves?
Buffalo.
Is that it?
Tonkas.
This is an era.
Is it Stranger in a Strange Land?
Maybe. This is where, well, this sweeping epic drama was still a box office smash.
Right.
Yes.
And you don't see that anymore.
Well, and it's also the story of like someone overcoming odds to become friends. Like it's like you can make friends with a grizzly bear if you want to, but this is that kind of thing of like I liked seeing that of him being able to build this bridge with another culture that he had no familiarity with, and I was like, yeah, people working together, that's awesome. And then the drama, of course, hits. Citizen Kane, on the other hand, it's about you watch the rise and fall of this not despicable person, but he becomes despicable near the end.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a lot of the power of Citizen Kane, because it was for a long time considered to be the greatest film of all time.
Almost to its detriment.
Yeah.
Because so many people consider this overrated. I think they've said that so much that it is now underrated.
Yeah.
I watched this in college film class for the first time because it's not the kind of movie I'd ever watched before because it was made before 1980. And I just bought into it. But I bought into it. And I think it's creatively the way this movie is constructed and why it was made and how much work Orson Welles put into it. I fell in love with this movie.
Well, it really depends on how you jump into this movie and what if you're trying to be movie guy.
Yeah.
If you're trying to appreciate it as a piece of filmmaking,
It's a necessary film.
You are going to have a much better time.
Well, because it didn't invent a lot of the filmmaking tricks and things that they do in the movie.
Yeah.
It put them all together. Like other movies were doing all these things kind of one off, and he would put everything in this movie where it's like, we're telling this story in kind of this scrambled order. We're using these camera shots that have never been used before. We're using this editing technique, which is used before, but now it's used here. Like there is so much innovation in this movie. And it was Orson Welles' debut, like his first feature film.
Good start.
He did War of the Worlds on the radio, and basically RKO Pictures said, hey, whatever you want, you can do it. And so he did this egotistical piece,
and in this one,
about an egotist.
He literally fought against Hollywood, made this movie, was shunned for it, and it's still one of the modern Hollywood classics.
Yeah, although it failed at the box office initially.
Yeah, and didn't win the best picture.
No, How Green Was My Valley
Right.
won.
Is this movie good because it's good? Is this a good drama and a compelling
I think
story?
so. I think so because I think watching even the description of the decline of a man is, for me, a really interesting story because you're hearing the story from those that have cared for him or have been burned by him. I do think Kevin Costner in Dances with Wolves is good, and I'm not saying it's bad because there's a lot of just relationship drama in it or like kind of a love story because there's a little bit of danger there as well. It just seems more cliched.
Is
right?
cliched at this point? Like it
No,
has
even
been
at that point.
done so many
Even at
times
that
since?
point.
Well, and I think of the major themes too, like Citizen Kane comes in and the drama comes from this man who had everything but just misses the innocence of his childhood. And that really resonated with like, wow, his life really was empty.
Like for me, I get in the 70s, like Jeremiah Johnson vibes from Dance with Wolves. And I'm saying Dance with Wolves is a better film. But for me, my pick is Citizen Kane to be the better drama.
Well, in jumping back to the themes again, Dances with Wolves, you get kind of that theme of just the outsider, and the settlement of America,
and it's done so well.
And it is done very well.
And the score is great.
Having watched it like just recently again,
Score is repetitive.
I forgot how good this is.
Yeah.
I forgot how good Dances with Wolves is when I watched it. I was like, that is really solid.
The theme, musical theme, that
John
happens,
Dunbar's theme?
happens a lot.
It does.
It is very good though.
Yeah.
This movie is very long, but it is beautiful in its length.
Yeah, 181 minutes.
And there's a director's cut that's even longer that has more establishing
Of Dance with Wolves, yeah.
they're more establishing landscape shots.
Man, I'm going back and forth on this one because also with acting, Orson Welles is the better actor between him and Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner is
We
not a
didn't
great
know
actor.
that Kevin Costner was a bad actor at this point. No.
Kevin Costner was being Kevin Costner, and it just took us a real long time to figure that out.
Right.
Yeah.
I never saw. So I watched Citizen Kane in college. in a film class. I'd never seen Dances with Wolves until a few weeks ago. And it was funny. I get to work and I'm like, hey, you know that movie that's super popular that everybody says is really good? It's really good. I liked it. However, halfway through, I was bored out of my gourd.
Of Dances with Wolves?
With Dances with Wolves. And I said, and this is probably just me being contrary and Baconsale Zach, but I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. This is just Avatar. Or Avatar is just this.
Yeah.
And here's the dumb thing that I literally thought at one point. I would rather be watching Avatar.
Whoa.
They're the same story. One's more visually compelling. That said, by the end, I found myself taken by the Lakota Sioux. I don't like Kevin Costner in this movie. I like the Lakota Sioux. And I walk away. I was thinking about it, right? It stuck with me of like, that was really nice. That's an interesting story. And even though, it all settles and you're like, well, I know how this ends because history, bummer. But I found it a very compelling movie. So I think I'm going to go with Dances with Wolves.
Wow, that's a turnaround.
Dang. I was hoping you guys make this easy on me.
No,
Nope.
I'm thinking Dances with Wolves.
That's why Zach jumped in there.
I think Citizen Kane is.
It is not a first round cut.
I'm on team overrated.
Wow.
I think people like it. This is the Chick-fil-A effect. People liking it more than they like it.
You cannot say Citizen Kane is Chick-fil-A.
They like liking it more than they like it. They like liking it because they're
dinner.
like, this is cinema.
I do feel like the idea of a newspaper icon is a little dated in today's world. I don't know if a lot of people will jump into it being like, oh, yes, of course, this is William Randolph Hearst or Joseph Pulitzer.
But don't you think you can put yourself in that place, though?
But you can see other
California.
people.
That is the power that be, right? The evil empire.
I do feel like, though, people could relate it to someone else of power who rose quickly and then just lost it all, or even just became an empty shell of who they were.
Right.
Oh, man. Dance with Wolves, 12 Academy Award nominations. I'm looking at facts here because I'm having a hard time separating the two.
AFI gave Citizen Kane number 2 on their best dramatic films of all time list.
They're both in the United States National Registry.
Number 99 on IMDb's best drama list.
Joel, there's a right answer, and it's not Avatar.
Zach, you mentioned something that struck with me.
Yes.
I was watching Dance with Wolves, and like near the end, I was like, wow, I forgot how heavy-handed this gets at the end.
Sure.
And Kevin Costner is not great in some of his acting moments. The buffalo scene was fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And those are robots.
What?
Yeah.
They're
They weren't killing real buffalo.
Well, good.
But at the same time, I was like,
robots?
that looks so realistic.
This is Jurassic Park?
I appreciate. There's many of these movies on this list. I appreciate you just look at it and you're like,
Isn't
that's
that
real.
so cool?
That's not CGI.
Whether it's a battle scene or whatever,
that's practically done. That's puppets. That's whatever. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so nice.
Yeah. But seeing as how Dance with Wolves is the 4th highest grossing film of 1990 because it's behind Ghost, Home Alone, and Pretty Woman, all of which I might like more than Dances with Wolves.
Oh, I like Ghost better for sure.
That's an unrelated thing, but I think
Ghost is our drama of dramas.
based on legacy, I got to go with Citizen Kane.
All right.
Citizen Kane moves on. Now we have Braveheart.
Scottish warrior William Wallace leads his countrymen in a rebellion to free his homeland from the tyranny of King Edward I of England.
Directed by Mel Gibson, starring Mel Gibson and Sophie Marceau.
Oh, she's in a James Bond movie.
Yes, she is.
Versus Children of Men.
In 2027, in a chaotic world in which women have somehow become infertile, a former activist agrees to help transport a miraculously pregnant woman to a sanctuary at sea.
Directed by Alfonso Cuarón and starring Clive Owen and Julianne Moore.
It's actually pretty close to Clive Owen's voice, to be
Michael
quite
Caine.
honest. Michael Caine.
The non-zombie Last of Us.
Came out in 2006. So Braveheart is one of those dramas that whenever we say, give us a dramatic movie at Quickwits, Titanic, Braveheart, always mentioned.
Why
every single time.
Did everyone stop thinking about movies after 1997?
I don't know. But Children of Men was one of those movies that for me, came out of nowhere. And
2009?
It was 2006.
2006.
And it came out, and I was watching it, and I was like, holy cow, this is compelling. Because it's about a world where basically the human race can't have kids anymore. And this is right at the beginning, kind of not really spoilery, but right at the beginning, you find out that the youngest person in the world,
An 18-year-old.
this 18-year-old kid, for lack of a better word, was killed. And then everyone's like, yeah, we're just doomed.
It's like The Road with more laughs.
There are some humor. There's some humor in it.
It is a more hopeful movie.
So
you know who's in this one though? Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Michael Caine.
So when people think about Children of Men, I don't know if they think about the drama, which there are some great moments, and I think the ending is very satisfying.
Oh,
it is
wow,
that one
yeah.
shot.
It's the one shot at the beginning.
Well, no. So
Well, and then the
Alfonso
middle.
Cuarón does a lot of these single shot sequences. I can't talk. where it looks like it's all one shot, and it's so well choreographed and well edited.
So that one in the middle that you're talking about, where they're reversing the car and they're being bombed and everything, and I don't want to get into spoilers. It is so scary, and you're right in the car.
I think the cleverness of this is with the camera work, because you feel like you are essentially following them on this journey.
Yes,
like
you're in the middle of the action.
You are with Clive Owen, not you're following him with it. No, you are literally there.
Yeah, and it is
even the camera even moves in a way as if you were walking and looking around at the world around you.
And there's a scene near the end where I cry every time because it's so well done, so well shot, so well acted, and just the moment it's quiet and it's amazing. And so, but at the same time,
I'm glad it's on our list.
I am too, and I think it was a great submission, but it's not going to beat Braveheart.
No.
Why?
Because
I never saw this movie. I saw it for the first time. I don't know what I was expecting, but I don't know why it gets the hype that it does. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Children of Men or Braveheart?
Braveheart.
Well,
Children of Men
you were
was
expecting
like
historically accurate drama.
No, Children of Men, I was like, what's this going to be? And you were taken by the story. Clive Owen's very interesting. The cinematography is great.
Yeah.
The world that's been created is fascinating. And Braveheart, I'm like, oh, that big climactic scene at the end that everybody shows is actually in the middle? This is just a whole lot of killing.
It's in the middle. It's throughout the movie. I will make the case for Braveheart a little bit later.
I just find
the entire movie is full of those moments. It's full of acting du jour.
Why do you care?
Why do I care?
Why?
my
Because
Scottish
what
heritage.
is there to care
Do
about?
you know
this
what
movie?
happened? So in 1994, granted, I was a little too young to see this movie, but I saw it a few years later. There weren't movies like that anymore.
Okay.
It was the first of its kind again. Right? It had been 30,
Historic
40
epic
years since
drama.
a historical epic had come out, and Mel Gibson throws this out there, and we're like, okay. You know?
Universally considered one of the least historically accurate movies of all
yes,
time, but
yes,
we're
yes.
going to set that aside.
Yes, but I believe Braveheart is beautiful because of its simplicity. It is a story of a man who's in love. His love is killed. He goes on revenge. And for
It's
some
John
reason,
Wick.
it is. But and that's the thing. John Wick,
With
satisfying. Taken, satisfying. Braveheart, satisfying. And Braveheart is the most dramatic of all those three.
Is it dramatic?
Yes.
It is very dramatic.
Oh, I couldn't buy in.
At the
I
end,
did not at any
Watched
point
it
buy
today,
in.
cried at the end.
Yep.
I mean, the end.
And I know it's coming. I know it's coming, still cry. Even with the betrayals and everything.
But we got to move on, guys.
Okay.
The end ruined the movie for my wife.
What?
Yeah, I am voting for Children of Men.
Yeah.
I think it's a more compelling movie. I didn't buy into Braveheart hype, but tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay,
Okay.
Doesn't move on.
Braveheart moves on.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Next, we have Forrest Gump.
The historically accurate United States from the 1950s to 70s unfold with perspective of an Alabama man with an IQ of 75 who yearns to be reunited with his childhood sweetheart, Jenny.
Directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Tom Hanks and Robin Wright.
And A Few Good Men.
Military lawyer Lieutenant Daniel Caffey defends Marines accused of murder. They contend they were acting under orders. Dumb synopsis.
I love IMDb. It's directed by Rob Reiner, came out in 1992 and stars Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, and Kevin Bacon.
Rob Reiner, man. The Few Good Men is it's an Aaron Sorkin, right? This is
it's a courtroom drama.
The
Is it
courtroom
the only
drama.
one we have on the list?
Yes, it is. I
think so.
The West Wing, also Gilmore Girls. I mean, it's in that style.
It's so
Please
well
don't.
done.
This is a movie that is so it's such a fan of itself. That everybody's dialogue is so snappy, but I'll tell you what, it boils down to the entire movie is pointless to me until you get to the very last scene.
Yeah.
That entire scene makes that entire movie.
Well, and
showdown.
Everyone has heard you can't handle the truth at some point.
but when you see an hour and a half of build up to get to it,
And then when
it's
it hits,
oh,
you're like,
geez.
boom, there it is. But I really, really like A Few Good Men. Like, I think it is one of those movies that I forget how much I like it, and then I watch it and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is great.
It takes itself very seriously. Then we have probably one of the most schmaltzy dramas ever made.
but is
Right? It's very dramatic. There are moments, but they are forced.
Forced?
Forced.
I think it's just trying to interestingly weave itself through history.
Well, and
I agree.
In my perspective, my limited, just me perspective, I feel like Forrest Gump, really all it is a look at American history through childlike eyes. That is all it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seeing all these events, good or bad, happening, but from the point of view of a child or a character whose IQ is that of a child. And there's something about that is wonderful to watch.
I went to the White House again.
Yeah.
I met the president again.
One of my favorite things is when this is kind of a spoiler. I don't know, but basically
You
he
can
says
spoil Forrest Gump. I'll allow it.
he just says at one point he's like, my buddy invested in Apple and told me we didn't have to worry about money anymore. So I was like, well, good, one less thing. And for some reason, that line gets me every time.
But
I'm
dramatic or a joke?
Well, and that's why I like Forrest Gump so much, is because it is a very unique blend of drama and comedy.
I'll tell you, when I saw it as a kid, the drama actually passed me by.
Yeah.
Specifically,
With his
Jenny.
mom and Jenny.
Jenny.
Yeah.
Jenny's storyline is the core heart and drama. It's what makes this a
She's
drama.
the worst.
She really is the worst.
Is she a victim of circumstance?
Ooh.
No, she definitely.
that's another
she
show
had her
altogether.
hard. She had her hard upbringing, but I don't like how she treats Forrest. I really don't. Until the end, when she finally matures.
Don't people going through a hard situation deserve a Forrest? They need a Forrest.
Like
Wow.
a Forrest or a
They
Forrest?
need a constant.
Is
like
this a
that.
TED Talk?
I think so.
Yeah.
A Gump talk?
That makes Forrest an even better person.
Well, and
if
Forrest-
he's willing to stand by her.
Forrest Gump is a modern day tall tale, and I don't know many other movies like it.
Right.
Yeah. It's
A Few Good Men
Big Fish.
is a compelling courtroom drama, but we get that so much these days, it
Yeah.
almost feels like watered down, because you
But
see that all the time,
with
like Law
acting
and Order.
powerhouses, though.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I'm not downplaying how much I like this movie.
Demi Moore is great. Jack Nicholson's
Kevin
great.
Bacon.
Tom Cruise is great. Kevin Bacon's flat top. Oh my word!
great.
It's so good. It's great.
It's so good.
Oh, it's so good. But even they're at a bar or a restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
And they sit down and they're having this intense back and forth, using all this legal jargon. And then the waitress comes in and he very quickly orders his drink, and then they come back to it and they're having that back and forth conversation. It's exhausting.
It is.
I really.
Speaking of exhausting,
you can just watch that last scene and you've watched the best part of the movie.
It so builds up to it, though.
I know.
By the way, speaking of exhausting, Jack Nicholson was paid $5 million for 10 days of shooting. That equates to $500,000 a day.
He's a smart man.
The famous story.
Well, he's not in Forrest Gump.
I know, but he's a smart
Few
man
Good
for
Men.
taking that role.
The famous story of that goes that they were filming that scene multiple times,
Yeah.
and they started by filming the reaction shots. And apparently, they're like, "Hey, we're going to do the reaction shots first. You just take it easy."
Yeah,
and he
tell him, Jack,
gave
take it easy.
the exact same performance every single time. Jack Nicholson. That it's just like it's like, why are you giving it all every time? He's like, because I love acting. I love doing this.
I'm going to put my vote out there first. I think it probably won't go much further, at least I hope. But I think Forrest Gump is more dramatic, even if it is a little insincere in its storytelling.
I wouldn't call it insincere. I'd call it childlike, whimsy.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with you, Kent, because to me, there's ups and downs in Forrest Gump between drama and comedy. So
Right.
it's this kind of roller coaster of emotion. Whereas in A Few Good Men, it kind of plateaus, and it's a great plateau to be on. But I didn't feel as emotionally drawn in
Right.
as Forrest Gump. So Forrest Gump is my
Clean
vote.
sweep, Forrest Gump.
All right.
Forrest Gump moves on.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Now we're finally to the second side of this bracket. Oh boy, it's not going to get any easier. However, we have Schindler's List.
In German-occupied Poland during World War II, industrialist Oskar Schindler gradually becomes concerned for his Jewish workforce after witnessing their persecution by the Nazis.
Directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Liam Neeson and Ray Fiennes.
And the one it's going against. True Grit.
A stubborn teenager enlists the help of a tough U.S. marshal.
Scraps!
This season's brought to you by Scraps.
Yeah, but this is directed by the Coen brothers. Came out in 2010. Stars Jeff Bridges and Haley Steinfeld,
Steinfeld,
Matt
Bridges in the
Damon,
cave.
Josh Brolin, Barry Pepper.
I think we all really liked True Grit when it came out.
I really like True. I grew up with the original.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
Yeah, the 1969 with
I prefer
John
it.
Wayne.
I admit that True Grit 2010 is a better movie.
Okay.
I
It
think-
feels more crisp, like clean.
Well,
Overall.
it's a more faithful adaptation of the novel.
What's
than
her name?
1960
Maddie?
version.
The
Yeah,
girl?
Haley Steinfeld. Maddie, yeah.
Maddie she's so much better in
Yeah.
this
She's
version.
so much more annoying in the.
She's awful.
in a good way. Like she's.
But she carries
grating.
the movie in a new one.
This is a Matt Damon appearance.
Yeah.
Is our second appearance of Matt Damon on this list?
I think first one, Saving Private Ryan and this one, yes.
So second appearance of Matt Damon. It'll come up again.
Matt Damon.
I think he's very good as LeBeouf. What's his name? LeBeef. Where's the beef?
LeBeef.
Jeff Bridges. You throw the subtitles on and it's a good time.
Yeah.
You can't understand him otherwise.
This is a great movie. And the other one's Schindler's List.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Clean sweep.
watching True Grit again. It was good. It's real good. And I need to revisit the old 1969 one because I remember really liking it. Watching Schindler's List was a hard experience.
Yeah.
And
Is it the only Western? Because of all the Westerns, it's
Schindler's
probably
List
not.
isn't a Western?
There's one more. There's one more.
Did you watch
Okay.
it?
Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, it's pretty far east.
I mean,
actually.
it's just. Okay, move on.
No, there's one more Western on this list.
Okay. Zachary Western.
You know what though? True Grit is fun. The old True Grit's fun. I prefer Rooster Cogburn because it's a little lighter.
Yeah.
A little funnier.
Right.
Yeah. But Schindler's List definitely needs to move on to this one because it is heavy dramatic.
Schindler's List moves on. Oh, this is so funny. Love Baconsale.
Gonna have fun time finding clips to play between rounds.
It's Hebrew from the Talmud. It says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire.
Once again, said before, say it again. Robin Williams wasn't on our comedy bracket even once. And here we are with Good Will Hunting.
Will Hunting, a janitor at MIT, has a gift for mathematics, but he needs help from a psychologist to find his direction in life.
Directed by Gus Van Sant, starring Robin Williams and Matt Damon.
Oh, another Matt Damon. And Dead Poets Society.
Maverick teacher John Keating uses poetry to embolden his boarding school students to new heights of self-expression.
Directed by Peter Weir, came out in 1989, starring Robin Williams and Ethan Hawke.
I can't think about Dead Poets Society without thinking of the SNL.
SNL.
Oh, Farewell, Mr. Bunting.
Everything. It's ruined everything.
I love that skit so much.
It's so good.
Fred
Armisen.
But how I really didn't like IMDb putting two Robin Williams movies against each other.
This is a tough
I blame you
matchup.
for this, though.
Why do you blame me for this?
I don't know. I just do.
It's not me. It's IMDb.
This is a matchup Joel would have made when he was making brackets.
When you guys think about rewatching Dead Poets Society, does it feel like the movie's kind of has a film on it? Like it's meant to be kind of like overly sappy and overly inspiring? I don't know. I get this like weird nostalgic film.
I feel like
filter over the movie.
I feel like this is a movie shown by teachers who really want you to think of them as Mr. Keating. Like,
right.
They want you. They want you to be
because
inspired by
he is the
them.
poetry teacher, the Maverick teacher they call him here, but just the one you want to have because he has a passion for the subject and he helps you learn. That being said, I remember being so devastated by Dead Poets Society when I watched it back in the day.
Yeah.
Watching it as an adult, I was like, I thought I remember this being sadder.
You don't think it's sad anymore?
No, it is sad.
It's still
impacting.
It's still sad, but I did not get emotional at this one as I did at Good Will Hunting.
Not that emotion
is the only driving force of
scene
drama.
sadder than what happens to a character in Dead Poets
I
Society.
think there's a better acting.
I
think Damon does a really good job in this movie, but specifically the "It's Not Your Fault" scene.
You kind of said it exactly the way I was going to say it, which is the Dead Poets Society feels like it's patting itself on the back on how important it is. Like, oh yeah, poetry's amazing. We're all amazing. Look how amazing we are.
It's important things. I think it's things that we should focus on, right?
And we're cutting this down a peg because of this, like because of doing this bracket. Dead Poets Society is a good movie. I just think Good Will Hunting's a better movie.
By the way, when Disney got the note,
It feels so real.
It's a better
right?
drama.
When Disney touched on pictures, but through Disney, they gave script suggestions. They wanted to make the boys' passion dancing rather than poetry, and they wanted to call it Sultans of Swing.
I don't hate the title, but I hate the synopsis.
Yeah. And apparently Ethan Hawke found Robin Williams incredibly irritating on the set of Dead Poets Society because he was always goofing around. And Ethan Hawke was very much serious. Being like, one day I'm going to star in a movie about people talking in Europe. And it's going to be serious.
I do think Good Will Hunting has sincerity on its side.
Yes.
And maybe it's because that was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's, not their experience of going to MIT, but where they lived, how people acted. And I think it just feels very real.
The interstitial stuff with the buddies is really good. Really rough.
I think Dead Poets Society, the strongest point is Robin Williams. And I think the other parts sway into the melodramatic, which is...
Melodramatic.
Yeah,
which is
that's
not
it. Dramatic. It's a little too...
That's the filter I was thinking of, yeah.
Okay.
Overly done.
With that, Good Will Hunting moves on.
Absolutely.
Clean sweep.
Good Will Hunting.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Next up, oh my goodness. This could be a final, honestly, for me.
Yep.
Casablanca.
A cynical expatriate American cafe owner struggles to decide whether or not to help a former lover and her fugitive husband escape the Nazis in French Morocco.
Directed by Michael Curtis, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman.
And this is one of the few films that is set in and filmed during World War II.
Isn't that
blew
crazy?
my mind. I knew it was older. I didn't realize it was. This is 1942.
Yeah.
This is a movie about the war during the war.
Yeah. And talking about it like it's, when it ends soon.
Yeah.
Years away.
Oh, jeez. And then Titanic.
A 17-year-old aristocrat falls in love with a kind but poor artist aboard the luxurious, ill-fated RMS Titanic.
Directed by James Cameron, who did Avatar. And it stars Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio and a bunch of other people.
Do you guys feel like Humphrey Bogart pulls back the drama a little bit because you can see him acting, right? Like he's such a classic actor.
He's such
that
a
it's
persona.
hard to buy him as a romantic lead a little bit.
But he's such a persona.
Even
But
though-
at the same time, I personally believe him as the jaded Rick. Like that is how I think
you're
he's
right.
exactly like
and
that.
I think he's helped by Ingrid Bergman, who is so great in this movie.
I think you see his experiences have made him the smarmy guy he
Right,
is.
okay.
Because this is one I watched for this challenge I've never seen before. Everyone talks about it as being an all-timer. And throughout this challenge, every time I saw an iconic moment, a well-known movie moment that you see, before the movies play at the movie theater, I did the Leonardo DiCaprio whistle snap point.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? I did that so many times in this movie.
moments.
Because
you're looking at you, kid.
I did not realize. I was expecting like a Gone with the Wind, right? A slow, methodical movie. This might as well be Aaron Sorkin. This movie is so dialogue heavy. It's obvious why there's so many iconic lines. There's so much dialogue. That dialogue is the action in this movie.
One of my favorite facts about the movie is they were trying to save budget, and so at the end there with the plane scene, the famous plane scene at the end, it's actually a cardboard cutout of a plane. And then they hired little people to go back there to look like regular size mechanics to kind of get the forced perspective thing going on, because they ran out of budget and they had to put a lot of smoke to block it out.
Well, it looks good.
But it does. That thing, it looks so crisp and clean. You wouldn't even know that its budget was cut a number of times. Now, we get over to Titanic, where it is the biggest budget of any movie on here, and it is the biggest box office, unadjusted for inflation, of any movie on here.
Do we feel like the drama has aged well?
I rewatched this movie.
Of Titanic or of Casablanca?
Talking about Titanic.
Okay.
I think Titanic, I was waiting for you guys to sync this movie because of the time period in which you grew up, because of the age that you are. I think that this movie, because it was so saturated in pop culture, because of the song that everyone's tired of, this movie is not given a fair shake at how good it really is.
And I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Zach, because I remembered liking this movie. I remember being like, the last part, the second half, fantastic. And so when I went back and watched it for our highest grossing movie thing, I was horrified by the dialogue, which seemed like it was written by a 90s teen girl in particular. And the way they spoke with each other, I was like, wow, they're really kind of like, it was like if Aaron Sorkin were a punk rocker, where it was like, or a 90s grunge thing, where it was kind of like, look how rebellious and cool I'm being. And I'm like, stop it.
Do you think it still gets the vibe right, though? Like, the dialogue itself, not very clever. But it still gets the feelings there.
But that's just it. So the drama would happen. I'd start building up, and all of a sudden, someone with like Kathy Bates would make some snarky remark like, looks like I got my panties in a bunch. And all of a sudden, it's like, no.
You have to show that she comes from new money, Joel.
I guess.
Here's the thing. This is children. They are young. This is Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
And I've always wondered, because people say all the time, the end's really good. The end is really good because of all of the time invested in the human aspect of these people. I always wondered, because you stop halfway through with the car scene.
Yeah.
That is halfway through the movie. And I literally was like, hold on. What is left in the runtime of this movie? Oh, I forgot that the Titanic sinks in real time.
So does that help or hurt the drama? Because I do think it's a good punctuation for what's happened before.
No, because if you just watched an hour and a half of the Titanic sinking, it'd be like, this is a lot.
I'm asking because I'm totally split on this one, actually. I like the Titanic.
An hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
An hour
it's not too soon. It's been over 100 years.
An hour and a half of the Titanic sinking wouldn't be compelling if you didn't get the human aspect. Right. You have to tap into, these are real people.
Otherwise, it'd be a Michael Bay movie, right?
Real relationships and real complexity. And so you're following Billy Zane around. You're following Kathy Bates around. And of course, Rose and Jack.
It's interesting because one movie, Casablanca, is about sacrificing for the one you love.
Yeah.
And Titanic is about sacrificing the one you love on that door.
This is actually an easy vote for me, because while I definitely felt the emotion of the sinking scene, and there was a human connection there, I agree with that. Casablanca is one of those dramas that I went into at arms folded being like, well, it's not going to be that great. And I got to the end,
it's old,
and I was
and
like, yeah. And I got to the end and I was like, that was great.
Joe, I completely agree with you on Casablanca. I was ready to be like, this is going to be dull. And I was compelled from the get-go.
Yeah.
I really think this movie is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and see it. But if you haven't watched Titanic lately, give it a chance. It is such a good... I literally paused it 4 times while watching it with my wife and said, this movie is so good. Also, I have to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
But this movie is so good. I'm voting Titanic.
I hate you both.
I know.
I think both movies are great. I didn't watch Titanic. I refused to watch it back in the day. And I've said this many times.
I get it.
I didn't watch it until we did our Oscar challenge. And I finally, it was the last movie I ever saw in the challenge. And
last movie he's ever saw.
Yeah. And guess what? I loved it. I got over my stubbornness and I thought, this is great. I love both actors. I didn't even like young DiCaprio, his acting at that time.
I wanted to hate him.
Yeah, right? But you can't.
I can't. He's charming.
And
Kate Winslet, I actually do like Kate Winslet a lot in Titanic.
I will give you that the weakest part is the dialogue, but I kind of don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
the best part of Casablanca is the dialogue.
That's just it. The dialogue really was the thing where I kept being like, whoa, well, I don't remember it being this bad. It's very 90s dialogue.
But it's, you talk about epic. Does it get more epic than Titanic?
It doesn't.
Maybe.
But also, I'm leaning towards historic. Okay. And Casablanca gets the historic vote. And because they're both so good. But Casablanca will still be remembered, even though it's not one of the highest grossing films of all time.
You two are among my best friends on this entire world. And you suck.
Oh, you're the mad one. Joel's been totally fine here.
I'm being non-dramatic. I'm trying to be anti-dramatic on this drama show.
You are so wrong.
Was that going to your final four, Zach?
Absolutely.
Wait, was that your rage right there?
This might be a finalist, if not the winner.
Hey, Zach. Fight Club.
Okay, fine.
Hey, no, don't talk about it.
Fine. Casablanca moves on.
You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh.
All right, a little bit more of a modern matchup here.
Okay, good.
Kind of a bizarre one, really, but Interstellar.
When Earth becomes uninhabitable in the future, a farmer and ex-NASA pilot, Joseph Cooper, is asked to pilot a spacecraft along with a team of researchers to find a new planet for humans.
Murph! Directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway.
2014?
Yeah, this is the year 2014.
Okay.
Because the next film is also
Nightcrawler?
When Louis Bloom, a con man desperate for work, muscles into the world of LA crime journalism, he blurs the line between observer and participant to become the star of his own story.
This is directed by Dan Gilroy and came out to Ortiz, you said, and starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, and Riz Ahmed, and Bill Paxton.
I think Nightcrawler is dramatic tension over drama.
I wouldn't say drama. Yeah,
it's one of those maybe No Country for Old Men where you're watching, you're like, I feel icky, but I can't stop watching what's happening here. This is one of those kind of like Sigma male characters that you're watching going, I can't relate to him, but at the same time, I need to find out what happens.
Similar to the Anton Chigurh thing. Like,
yeah,
it's
totally.
A very compelling character for bad reasons.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is the case of the person you're following, the protagonist, is the antagonist.
There's a scene where he's simply having like a drink and food with Rene Russo, and it's a 5-minute scene, and it's horrifying. Conversation.
It is. That thing is, it is this conversation where you're just like, oh my gosh, these people are psychopaths. And it is. It's about this freelance photographer who goes out and takes pictures of crimes and sends them to the news stations. But then it becomes, oh, they like the sensational pictures. How can I make that happen?
Near suspense, though.
That's okay. This is my repentance round for 2 reasons.
Because you're going to make it up to me somehow.
Number one is that I should have fought more to keep Nightcrawler off this bracket and put it on the thriller bracket.
Okay.
Because I believe it is more of a thriller than a drama.
Really well on the thriller bracket.
It would have done very well on the thriller bracket, but it's on here, and I should have done that. My second repentance note is my initial review of Interstellar.
Oh, you think I've ever forgotten that?
Because I gave it a middling review. It wasn't poor. It just I kind of was like no, it's
because my praise was all over.
I called it sloppy. I said, I know. I called it.
There's some big ol' yada yada happening in this movie.
Well, there is in Interstellar, and it was because
hear the dialogue.
It was because there's something going on with the timing where it's like some scenes were really drawn out, some scenes were super short that I wanted longer, and it kept going back and forth, and I was kind of frustrated by it, and the ending frustrated me as well.
We're not going to spoil this movie.
No. But in subsequent viewings, I have gained an appreciation for what this movie is and what it's trying to do. And I've really got caught up, even though there's some parts they go over my head. I'm not smart enough to understand all the quantum physics of a black hole.
Right.
But the emotion remains constant.
It's a paper. You poke a hole in the paper.
Yes.
And then you go through the 2 holes.
It comes down to it. It's a story of fatherhood and love and destiny.
But it hit me harder on the second viewing. And then after that, I appreciate it now. And so this is one where I actually raised my score on IMDb and Letterboxd.
Now I hear several sighs from over in the corner. Why?
Okay.
It's because of Matthew McConaughey.
Christopher Nolan's best magic trick is The Prestige. Christopher Nolan's second best magic trick is taking this giant, sweeping, crazy timed, this huge story and somehow boiling it down to this intensely intimate story of a father and a daughter. And it is kind of crazy to me, right? Because there's all these things that we're literally traveling through worlds, through space and time, and it really comes down to the main character, the person that matters the most, is his daughter.
Yeah.
And
I'm not crying. I'm just.
It's all about his relationship with his daughter, and how they both through this process discover how they really feel about each other. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's just so touching and so weird, and how you get there.
Right.
But I have always wanted to hate this movie.
Why?
I hate Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
You hate Anne Hathaway.
I hate Anne Hathaway. Once again, we have a Matt Damon sighting. He's back.
True.
This bracket's brought to you by Matt Damon.
Yeah.
So I watched it for the Nolan show, and for the first hour, I hated it. And then by the end of the movie, I went, every single second of that movie was purposeful. Every single bit of that first hour all added up.
Can we make it up for previous rounds with this one?
I love you guys.
Then
Titanic should go on.
No,
too late.
Then
Time to
I
go.
watched it again with my wife.
Yeah.
My wife wanted not to like it either.
Yeah.
She really, really doesn't like Anne Hathaway. She's okay on Matt McConaughey.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt. We're buddies now because I like Interstellar.
And Matthew Damon. They actually.
And
came out.
she actually, when it ended, she was like, I don't think I liked that. And then like 3 days later, she still is like, well, what about this? What about this? Which means she was thinking about it. And I was like, babe, I think you liked it. And
Yeah.
This is a movie. So to long-winded way to say, to your point, Joel, this movie gets way better with subsequent viewings.
Yes, once you know what to expect.
It's again in that first hour, everything you're like, oh yeah.
And the truth is, I have
okay.
thought a lot
Yep.
about this movie since watching it, and seeing it again, I'm like, yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but
It sparks conversation.
as you know, I have like a cold chest cavity where my heart once was. But I've kind of, since the pandemic, I've kind of opened myself up to feeling emotions.
COVID made you grow a heart?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, COVID gave me a heart. And so I allow myself to feel more in movies. But even this one in 2014, first time I saw it, when he just watches his daughter talk to him in that screen.
And she is so angry and upset and hurt by
and
him.
he is shaking. He is just crumbling and just sitting there. It's a phone call, essentially. And
Guys, we got to move.
I bawl. And if a movie can make me cry, which a lot of movies will, and I haven't talked about it yet, that's successful drama. Interstellar.
Nightcrawler's really good, though.
It's really good.
So
I own
good.
it. I freaking love that
It was
movie.
one of my favorite movies the year it came out.
Great.
But no.
Interstellar moves on.
Yep.
Those aren't mountains. They're waves.
Next up, we have The Godfather Part 2.
The early life and career of Vito Corleone in 1920s New York City is portrayed while his son Michael expands and tightens his grip on the family crime syndicate.
Weirdly enough, he is specifically doing a Robert De Niro impression.
Yeah, that's
That is
really
actually
good,
really
Had
good.
the eyes and everything.
Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
Versus The Last of the Mohicans.
3 trappers protect the daughters of a British colonel in the midst of the French and Indian War.
Directed by Michael Mann and starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Madeline Stowe.
I didn't know this was directed by Michael Mann. I love Michael Mann.
Our only Daniel Day-Lewis.
Crazy, because he is the dramatic actor of all time.
By the way,
dramatic
this
actor
is
of
the
actors.
only Academy Award that Michael Mann got was for Last Mohicans, and it was Best Sound.
Wow, not Heat.
Okay.
For Best Awesome Crime Movie?
Yeah.
I think we all love Last Mohicans, but
Nope.
do we love it for the score?
I don't like Last Mohicans.
Not even for the score.
I remember being bored by it when I first watched it, and that by like the soundtrack, and I'd listen to that. When I watched it again in preparation for this, I was like, once again, I was like, oh, maybe I was too harsh in this movie. And then I got to the end, I'm like, nope.
Good moments.
I do feel the
Good
same way
score.
about that as I do the Count of Monte Cristo. Soft epic. You know, it came out at a time where we're like, oh, it's big and it's romantic and it's dangerous, but it didn't hold a candle to the movies that came out nearby.
Last of the Mohicans was R-rated.
Yeah.
And
Boy, was it.
I expected R-rated battle scenes. You know what I got? Pre-edited, post-production battle scenes.
Right.
Like they're hitting each other with axes, completely bloodless the entire time. And I kept being like, why is this rated R? And there was a scalping or two, and I went, probably that.
That's
But the score is so good.
It's good, but it also is really repetitive. Every time they start running, which is a lot in the movie, a whole time.
You guys are sitting here like The Godfather is just, it's just
Godfather Part
chopsticks.
2. Godfather Part 2.
So tightly edited.
The score. You're talking about the score
Yeah.
of Godfather is amazing. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Score.
No, it's true. It's true.
It is, but at the same time, I'll just say it. I don't like Last Mohicans. I thought it was just
Really?
boring.
Don't like?
Boring. Yeah, I don't like it. It was 2.5 stars. It was right on the cusp.
Wow.
But I thought the first half was dull and the second half was clumsy. I really
Madeline Stowe, though.
Madeline Stowe, good.
Come on.
Daniel Day-Lewis, disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing.
Like really, I watched
It's his
this.
most like a regular role I think he's ever taken.
Yeah. But I didn't like it. I think almost every single character in Last Mohicans is one dimensional. There's no growth
Uncas?
for anyone.
Oh,
No, they're all either good or bad at the beginning, and they stay that way the entire time.
Yeah, you're right.
Except for one character, kind of. But Godfather 2 is moving on for me.
Well, I think it's a clean sweep.
Yeah. Godfather 2 moves on.
If history's taught us anything, it says you can kill anyone.
Now we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
When the relationship turns sour, a couple undergoes a medical procedure to have each other erased from their memories forever.
Directed by Michelle Gondry and starring Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
Versus The Help.
An aspiring author during the civil rights movement of the 1960s decides to write a book detailing the African-American maid's point of view on the white families for which they work and the hardships they go through on a daily basis.
Directed by Tate Taylor, starring Emma Stone, Viola Davis, Bryce Dallas Howard, Octavia Spencer, Jessica Chastain.
I hate that they're both in this movie.
I know.
get so confused.
Bryce Dallas Howard and Octavia Spencer?
Yeah, they're so similar.
Do you guys like The Help?
No.
I do.
Really? Why?
I did. It surprised me. The movie surprised me because it was, I don't know, it was surprising.
I think Viola Davis
it was funny, but also dramatic.
Is an acting powerhouse.
I thought it was going to be a little more heavy-handed in some regards, but in the end I was like, I mean, I only watched it the once. I have not seen it again.
Is it saccharine history?
Yes. A little bit.
We're getting?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's a little bleached.
I liked it, but I understand some people don't.
I think you have really, really good actresses in this movie.
Yes.
That are giving... Like they'll accidentally give you a good performance.
No, I think they're all doing a good job.
I mean, they're doing a good job, but like these are people who are so good at their job that they could sleepwalk through this. It'd be awesome.
In that way, I think they're acting better than the script.
I think they are absolutely elevating this movie. The movie's fine, but the cast is wonderful.
Yeah.
But I think that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a much more compelling drama.
Totally,
it's got more to have you think about as far as
the whole
relationships.
Concept of, if you could erase pain from your life, would you do so? Like just the memory of pain.
We'll get into that in further rounds.
Because are we going to go clean sweep here?
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine's going to get this one.
Okay, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind moves on. Now we have Whiplash.
A promising young drummer enrolls in a cutthroat music conservatory. Are you dragging? Are you dragging? Or what is it?
Are you rushing?
Rushing or dragging?
Or
That's it. Where his dreams of greatness are mentored by an instructor who will stop at nothing to realize a student's potential.
Directed by Damien Chazelle, starring Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons.
Versus the Ten Commandments.
Moses, raised as a prince of Egypt in the Pharaoh's household, learns of his true heritage as a Hebrew and his divine mission as the deliverer of his people from slavery.
Directed by Cecil B. DeMille and starring Charlton Heston and Yul Brynner.
We could fight for a long, long time and not come up with the right answer here.
Because the Whiplash versus the Ten Commandments.
This is such a bizarre matchup. I hate it so much.
It's apples and oranges.
We did talk Ten Commandments to death during the most successful movie of all time.
And we were all very high on this movie. I think we're also all very high on Whiplash. Yeah,
I had a hard time with Whiplash at first.
It's a difficult movie to watch
because I didn't realize there is no real hero.
No.
And once you realize it's a villain and an anti-hero, well, not even an anti-hero, a whipping boy, basically.
Yeah, when you end the movie and go, I don't know who's right.
Yeah.
I love the Ten Commandments, but it's not a dramatic roller coaster. Whiplash, from start to finish, has you in the palm of its hand.
If this was epic of epics...
truly.
No question.
Yeah, no
but
question.
You're saying that...
But as far as a character piece goes, and an aspirational musician just trying to make it, and having a teacher that will accept nothing less than perfection, the way they just counterplay between each other makes this the better dramatic choice.
So you're voting for Whiplash?
Absolutely.
I'm voting for Ten Commandments.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
And it's because Whiplash, I guess, it all depends on your definition of drama.
Mm-hmm.
Whiplash, I was... edge of my seat, stressed out the entire time. And then I watched Ten Commandments, and it's this inspiring kind of welling up inside you emotion. Mm-hmm. Also could be considered drama. It's not a comedy by any means, but I felt much more emotionally lifted up by Ten Commandments, whereas I need to take a nap after Whiplash because I was just
I cried in Prince of Egypt. I don't cry in the Ten Commandments.
You don't cry in the Ten Commandments?
No.
Oh.
I feel like it gets there by the end, and it gets very dramatic by the end, but there's just so much hammy acting that I go, yeah, I remember watching this all the time. Whereas Whiplash, every time I watch it, which is about once a year, I'm sucked in.
Yeah. And I'm not going to complain against your choice, though, because I think Whiplash is a powerfully dramatic film.
Yeah. Zach, deliver us.
So let it be written. So let it be done. Yeah, we obviously, on the Adjusted for Inflation show, we all sung Ten Commandments praises. Mm-hmm. We all like this movie. But when it comes down to drama of dramas, I don't know which way to go. Whiplash is one of the most intense movies I've ever seen. I really put it up there with Dunkirk. Like they're completely different movies, but I felt the similar like edge of my seat tension.
That last 7 minutes?
Where
were you at?
I listened to the final drum solo, that final song all the time.
I mean, the story
And I
that's
feel
told by that final performance.
Yeah.
What that teacher does to that student and vice versa.
Yeah, I don't really want to spoil it because I know a lot of people haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But the sort of ambiguous ending, everybody's happy and mad at the same time. It's a little ambiguous. All throughout, you are just like, come on, can this kid catch a break? And you are feeling his drama, his tension. Ten Commandments is such a good story. It's been around for a real long time, and everybody really likes it. I'm going to catch flack for this, but I'm going to go Whiplash.
It's the right choice.
It's not the right choice, but it's an okay choice. And it is apples and oranges. That's the problem.
It's super hard to compare.
Because I would lean on Legacy. I don't think people talk about Whiplash that much, but
I think it's because they haven't seen it.
You know what? They will.
You
This is a movie that'll come up in like 15 years because it doesn't age. This movie's not going to age.
Right.
This 15, 20 years, people will be like,
what about when robots take over drums? It'll age.
Oh, that's true.
No, they're going to be so good at
human
drums.
playing drums?
What?
Okay. Whiplash moves on.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
And we're ending round one.
Wow.
Holy cow. With Inception.
A thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream-sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea in the mind of a CEO, but his tragic past may doom the project and his team to disaster.
Directed by Christopher
We should
Nolan.
clarify, people, users submit summaries for IMDb.
And that is why we laugh at them. So
Yes.
another Nolan choice. Thank you, guys. Starring DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And Marion Cotillard.
2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Versus Tombstone.
A successful lawman's plans to retire anonymously in Tombstone, Arizona are disrupted by the kind of outlaws he was famous for eliminating.
Directed by George B. Costanza. No, it's Cosmatos.
Yeah.
Starring Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth. A lot of people in this one.
Starring Mustache.
So who's who of 90s actors?
Is it one of the coolest guy movies out there?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, and maybe just because Val Kilmer is Doc Holliday.
So good.
He's so good.
That is the crutch.
I think so.
Because that is the crutch that Kurt Russell leans onto because Kurt Russell is not that good.
I think he's super cool.
I was always more of a Young Guns kind of guy.
Cool. Yeah.
Like I was Young Guns.
You're taking Young Guns over Tombstone.
I would take Young Guns over Tombstone.
I like Young Guns too.
And then I watched Tombstone and I was like, yeah, I don't really think it's good, but it's not as great as everyone made it out to be. So my vote is going for Inception because I feel like that is a drama. Once again, you need to watch multiple times to truly appreciate it, and it just gets more entertaining each time.
I disagree. I think it reaches a point, right? You watch it a first time, great. You watch it a second time, even better. Third time, wow. Fourth time, diminishing returns. I've seen this movie 6 times. Five
Wait,
or 6
for
times.
Inception?
Inception.
You're measuring it based on each time.
Yes.
I love that so much.
I think after the peak of this movie is the 3rd or 4th time you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I'm like, I like this movie less every time I watch it.
Really?
I think for Christopher Nolan's show we did, 2 years ago now? I think I watched it for my 6th time. And I'm like, I don't know that I'll ever watch this again.
Some would say it's his masterpiece.
I think Interstellar's better.
Well, now Kent doesn't know what to say to that.
I don't know what to say. I was literally speechless. I'm
think
of two minds.
I think that Inception is slick.
But
it is
okay.
like a great like spy thriller.
Here's the thing. It's not Interstellar versus Inception yet. So does Inception move on or does Tombstone move on?
My last name is Western.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for Tombstone.
But aren't there better Westerns that... And
there are better Westerns.
That could have been on this list.
There are better Westerns.
Yeah.
But I really like Tombstone.
Tombstone's great.
It is super watchable movie. It's really interesting. It was so cool for its time.
Dad movie bracket called Tombstone's going to be on the list. Inception might as well, but the dramatic elements in Inception are the crux behind the story and behind the action. And so I think it's 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Inception moves on.
Inception moves on.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Okay, we've given details. We're going to take less time, except for with editing. I'm going to cut down a lot of dead air.
When we hem and haw over what we want to choose.
But we're down to our Sweet 16.
Oh,
right, Zach?
We have many a final matchup, and we're only in round 2.
Here we go.
Shawshank Redemption versus Gone with the Wind.
Holy cats. Prison drama versus Civil War drama.
I wasn't very high on Gone with the Wind, so I'll just quickly jump out there. Shawshank Redemption. Saw it for the first time because I was on my shame list that I hadn't seen it before. Watched it last year. So good.
It wasn't overhyped.
No. Lived up to the massive hype. And what does that anymore?
And that's just it. I'm going to play my hand here a little bit too because
we didn't even talk about this movie last
No, Shawshank Redemption is one of those movies that it didn't do well in its initial theaters, but then because it was nominated for some Academy Awards, and then it was re-released, and then it was put on TNT, where it was played all the time, people started watching it. Now, Gone with the Wind is a powerful, powerful drama.
And it's film history.
But I watch that one once every couple years.
Yeah.
Just to remember, oh yeah, this is a pretty amazing movie. Shawshank Redemption, every time it's on, I watch it. Every time it's on, I get emotional. I gotta vote for Shawshank.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Shawshank Redemption moves on.
I believe in two things, discipline and the Bible. Here you'll receive both.
Next up is Saving Private Ryan versus Life is Beautiful. Wow. Very different aspects.
I'm jumping out first. I think Life is Beautiful should get the move ahead. I know it's not a war movie, and war movie brings blood and guts in that first 15 minutes, which is so dynamic, right? It's so incredible, but it's just a war movie. I think the ending makes you cry, and it should, and it does. But it really is a war movie with discussions in between talking about character backgrounds, whereas I think Life is Beautiful tells a story. And it's that contradicting tone that works in its benefit. I think Saving Private Ryan is straightforward and was bested by Band of Brothers.
Now, Kent,
don't you dare
easily
be right.
I don't know if I am. I just I did do this before you guys vote.
Kent, I have to say, we've said that before. I've said that before, where it's like it's really the first 15 minutes, and then the movie kind of becomes good after that. Not great.
Right.
Watching it again, though.
Except for the end.
Well, no, watching it again, though, I was like fully pulled in to Saving Private Ryan almost the entire time. And I went, man, I keep giving this movie the short end of the stick, but it is really well done.
I find this movie to be like a funnel, right? It starts out really wide, and it really, as you move through it, it narrows in.
It does.
To what you need to be thinking about. It's almost like the opposite of what I was talking about with Titanic, where we start small to appreciate the big.
Right.
It's almost like you work your way the other way.
Meanwhile, you have Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful is it's a good movie. It's less accessible. It's more
accessible,
less
dramatic,
accessible.
Right? Well, like what are we counting here?
What'd you vote for, Kent? Did you already vote?
Life is Beautiful.
You vote okay.
Oh, I think it's literally harder to watch.
I'm going counter. I'm going counter only because, from my perspective, we're going drama of dramas here, right? Life is Beautiful is very dramatic in the second half. First half, more comedy. Saving Private Ryan starts off very dramatic, and it does not let up. It is the more dramatic movie. It is the more accessible movie in that regard, because I do think Life is Beautiful will turn some people off with the goofy style comedy. I got to vote for Saving Private Ryan.
Oof. I'm going to go with Saving Private Ryan as well.
That's fair.
We got to move past it. Saving Private Ryan moves on.
Jeez.
Earn this. Now we have the Count of Monte Cristo versus Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane.
We tried, Count. We tried.
Well, I think Count of Monte Cristo.
It's a fun adaptation.
I enjoy it.
It got put up against kind of an easy one last time.
No, it didn't.
But this novel by Alexandre Dumas is a very good story.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of a swashbuckling 90s, almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
Adaptation.
Early 2000s.
Still, it feels like the 90s, kind of like Three Musketeers era kind of thing.
Oh.
Where they're trying to be so cool.
Chris O'Donnell.
But it is very dramatic in parts, and I do really enjoy it. But compared to Citizen Kane, sorry.
No, I get it. Citizen Kane moves on.
No, I don't know many people.
I know too many people. I guess we're both lonely.
Now we have Braveheart versus Forrest Gump.
Oh,
Zach,
man.
you're choosing Forrest Gump.
I'm choosing Forrest Gump.
Okay.
I think Braveheart's a very good movie. I was not particularly taken with it, but I had grown up with Forrest Gump, and then I watched it again ahead of this challenge with adult eyes, and I think it is a very interesting, good movie. I will watch it again on purpose.
Yep.
It's very enjoyable.
It's a good movie with a mix of a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the dramatic pick is Braveheart.
I see where you're coming from.
And it's,
why are we being so nice?
Oh, to each other?
Yes. We're disagreeing in a nice
love
way.
you moron. Do you buy that?
Which movie is that from?
I don't even know.
Gilmore Girls?
Yeah. Actually, that is probably from Gilmore Girls. I hate
because I love you, idiot.
But for me, it's Braveheart. There's multiple stories to be told here, right? There is the war stuff right in the middle, and it feels like you kind of use that against it, even though Saving Private Ryan kind of coasted on that. Whereas I think the story of what was being taken from these people, I think really a lot of these dramas come down to the underdog trying to achieve more. And the story of William Wallace, while sure untrue or whatever, is, and so is Saving Private Ryan, to be honest. It was a guy
they're both amalgamation stories.
It's a guy who's never been knighted that came from nowhere to lead a rebellion. And in the story of this movie, yeah, right.
Forrest Gump led the rebellion? Oh.
No, but in this movie, to literally change the course of history in this movie, I understand, and it has amazing villains. It has betrayal.
Do we know what year is this set?
1300s.
Where did he get all that hairspray?
There's
same place they got the kilts. Magic Land.
He wasn't using conditioner, so that was kind of how it is.
Yeah, there were no kilts.
But whether it's like the realistic looking violence, because boy. The score,
special effects, not the CGI. The
and
special
I will
effects
say,
of Braveheart are great.
Well, don't forget that Forrest Gump was groundbreaking in visual effects.
Oh, it looks so bad right now.
Some of the mouth stuff do not match
Lieutenant
up.
Dan.
That looks
still
fantastic.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
All of the John Lennon in particular.
Yeah.
Awful.
But as far as drama goes, I think the sadness, William Wallace feels it several times. The revenge he gets early on in the movie, when you see him ride his horse behind those shacks, I was like, oh, here it comes. There's fear, excitement, there's drama, and there's sadness. And at the very end, it still gets me every time and gives me tears.
I'd rather watch The Northman.
This is not an easy matchup.
No, it's not.
No.
Because
for me, this came down to, honestly, to preference. Both of these are great movies.
I'm kind of making these background mental notes of every time I look at a movie, and I'm like, okay, what are my cry points in this movie? Like, what points do I
love
cry?
that.
Both of these have one right near the end. Mm-hmm. Forrest Gump, I want to give spoilers, but just when he's asking about the kid and saying, is he smart or is he, and he points at himself every time. Oh, God, I just got right there.
Yep.
That got me so much.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Freedom with William Wallace that and
And the music swelling at that moment.
Oh, man. It is a chick flick for guys.
Yeah.
Is what it is, because get your tissues out.
Yep.
That being said, I do feel like Forrest Gump could be off-putting to some, in the sense of the comedic elements and in the sense of the kind of the CGI that back then, groundbreaking, amazing, but the visual effects kind of have not aged well in some parts, in the archive footage stuff.
Nobody's going to call Braveheart goofy.
No.
But you can, there's a lot about Forrest Gump you can call goofy.
But it's amazing how Forrest Gump just ingrained itself in popular culture.
It did.
Like Forrest Gump impersonations alone and phrases like life is like a box of chocolates. Like this was pop culture because it showed pop culture. The whole movie is about the history of the world and all these events that happened and all the popular culture of the time. Having a hard time, I'm going to have to go strictly on rating here, and my higher rated movie is Braveheart.
Okay. Braveheart moves on.
Joel, love you. Always have.
Always will.
You know you can fight. But it's our wits that make us men.
Yay, we're the second side of the bracket already. Look how fast we're going.
Yay.
Yeah, right. We're right into Schindler's List versus Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
Are you going to go first this time, Joel?
Sure.
Okay.
Because I'm going to pick Schindler's List. Because when it comes to drama of dramas, Good Will Hunting has dramatic moments.
Wouldn't you say it sneaks up on you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Schindler's List does not sneak up on you.
It does not sneak. It's like signs pointing everywhere saying, this is going to break your heart.
Here's the evil of the world.
Yes. But here's the good in the world as well.
Is that manipulative?
Well, but that, like Ken mentioned that earlier, and I do feel like, yes, Schindler's List is heart-wrenching and hard to watch, but people sometimes forget that it does have that underlying hopeful message of the good in people, that there can be good in people, people can change, and one person can make a huge difference.
Easy, Rocky.
If I could change, you could change.
So American.
I'm choosing Schindler's List, though, between these two. I feel like it is the more impactful movie, it is the more dramatic movie, it is the better movie.
Better movie?
I do think so.
Zach, what about you?
I don't even know that this is Spielberg's best movie from '93. I'm kidding. Schindler's List is better than Jurassic Park. I think, see, with Good Will Hunting, though, this is a very human story.
It is.
That is, treading lightly here, maybe in some ways
relevant,
in some ways more relatable to us.
Because that's fair to say.
Because it's like, okay, well, this is a kid who's coming from nothing to be something.
No,
and that's very interesting.
And we all feel personal trauma in a way, right?
But I love the idea of Good Will Hunting of, are you reaching your full potential? Yeah. Are you doing all you can?
I didn't know that I hadn't seen Good Will Hunting until this challenge. I'd seen all of the key scenes,
right?
But what I heard someone say is, you can tell if you've seen Good Will Hunting if you remember Ben Affleck.
Yep,
because he actually is very good in this. But his speech that he gives to him of like, I hope that I come up and you're not there.
Yeah,
that to me was the part that set that movie over. The stuff with Robin Williams is wonderful. That's all great. But the stuff with his friend who's like, I will support you in whatever you want to do, but I hope
Don't get stuck with
you're the best of us. I hope for the best for you.
Right.
I love that messaging. And I don't feel like social responsibility toward that. I just enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Schindler's List is an amazing movie. It's an all-time movie, and picking it would be an absolutely correct choice. But I am continually impressed by Good Will Hunting. It's raw, it's real, it's interesting, it's a great watch, and I will actually pick Good Will Hunting.
Okay,
great case.
Yeah,
but Schindler's List moves on.
I appreciate that. It's Schindler's List.
No, it's a great pick,
List.
but it's Schindler's List.
Schindler's List moves on.
Stop making me get audio clips from Schindler's List.
Today is history, and you are part of it.
Next, we have Casablanca versus Interstellar. What?
They're basically the same movie. Almost like it's like a remake, almost.
I don't even know what to say about these
guys. They actually rushed. Like we talked about it being set during and filmed during World War II. They rushed it into release to take advantage of the publicity from the Allied invasion of North Africa. Like that's how
they were banking on the war.
A little bit.
Oh, geez,
a little bit, which feels a little skeezy.
I'm going to make a case for Interstellar. Obviously, right? I don't think Nolan will ever hit the emotional beats that he hit here. Maybe by accident. Maybe it was a magic trick, like you said, Zach. But he hit it, and I think it's because the themes are relevant, even though it's about, the blight, it's the end of the world, or space travel, or where are we going to go next? But the themes really come down to the passage of time and the loss that we all experience, and maybe what we could have done differently. Can we get a chance to do it differently? And I think that's more relevant than maybe a sweeping story of, a love lost, the one that got away. How can I make her life a little bit better?
And Nazi Germany occupying places they shouldn't. That's also part of Casablanca.
Well, no, but I'm going with themes here.
Right, sure.
And I think
you boil it down to a love story. I'm like, it is, but it's also got
and I love Casablanca.
See, I think that's more of a tone setter as opposed to an actual impact on the story. And maybe this is me just getting into the meta. I feel like because of the time frame, they were a little gentle in the war stuff.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to go next because I have a contrary vote to you, Kent.
Oh, come on.
Because I feel like Interstellar, like I said, took me multiple viewings to appreciate it more.
Okay.
And it is dramatic, yes, but Casablanca, something about it is timeless.
I get it.
And it is endlessly quoted and referenced. Like all the time you hear things like "Play it again, Sam," which is actually a misquote. And of all the places
really
in all the world you came into mind.
All
like
gin joints.
Yeah, there's all these sayings and things that came from this because even the song "As Time Goes By" is emotional for people.
The song that was played 47 times in the movie.
So many times.
I mean, it's good.
I still
and movie quotes are good. Are they dramatic?
Well, no, I'm saying the movie quotes happened and the references happened because this made an impact, and
Truly,
that impact
you're
has
right.
lasted.
Yeah.
So I'm voting for Casablanca.
As I've said many, many times, I did not see Casablanca until this challenge, and I really was impressed. This is a movie that holds up so well. The dialogue is endlessly interesting. I'm going to give the nod to the epic nature of Interstellar.
Wow.
I appreciate the grand and vast storytelling while also being an intimate story. Casablanca is iconic.
Is it more of a movie of movies?
Maybe. I find the drama more compelling in Interstellar. I'm going to go with Interstellar and not think about it too much.
Wow.
Did not see that coming.
I didn't either. I will probably listen back to this and regret that.
You did not see that coming?
Stop.
Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space.
Now we have The Godfather Part 2 versus Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Okay.
Again, basically the same movie.
Before we get rid of Eternal Sunshine, I'll just make a case, even though I don't know if I'm voting for it yet. It's a cerebral drama, right?
Very.
There's a lot of funky science fiction going on that maybe doesn't need to be explained. But what it does nail is the emotional elements of a doomed relationship. And I think every part of this movie, whether it's the camera work or the dialogue or the weird out of time or fantasy sequences, it dives into that deeper love story, into something we've all kind of felt before. Right? Do we want to get rid of emotions from the past or emotions from an ex? Or is that something that we need to live in?
Yeah, for sure.
What are you voting for, though?
I don't know, because there's Godfather 2, which is a great movie. Is it The Godfather 1? No.
The Godfather 1 is better. I don't know
Definitively.
why. I don't know why people say that The Godfather Part 2 is so good. It is a really good continuation.
It is the struggle with the immediate family. Without giving any spoilers, that hits Michael hard. And I think what his actions, the retribution, is pretty serious for film history.
What I found was funny in my research as I was looking it up is that Godfather Part 2 did not do well upon initial critical reviews.
What?
They were saying it pales in comparison to the original. They were saying that intercutting stories was too frequent and didn't give enough time to really appreciate it.
I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the way that it's done. I don't understand why. I feel like it makes no sense, and there's no...
But do you like De Niro?
There's no thematic connection between the two.
I understand that.
I would much rather go with the Godfather saga or the Godfather epic, which is chronological cut of this movie. I would rather just watch the entirety of Robert De Niro as a young Vito Corleone, watch Marlon Brando, who is brilliant as Vito Corleone,
right?
Don Vito Corleone, and then carry on Michael's story.
They were going to, when they got those initial reviews from screenings, they were going to try to fix work with the timeline and get it kind of back together, but they ran out of time, which is weird. But they ran out of time and then had to push it forward, and so it kind of went out. But then that's just it. Is once it was reevaluated, people started changing the reviews, and everyone started saying, actually, it's pretty good. It's great. But maybe better than the original.
When you and many people say that this is the example, this and The Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back of Terminator 2 of the sequel that's better than the original movie.
Debatable, yes.
Debatable,
yes. Which if there's a debate, that's a good sign.
But once finishing this 3.5 hour movie, you go, wow, I just watched something really important. But I do think one. And it's not a comparison of 1 and 2. This is the comparison of 2 and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Thank you for being clear.
Right. And so it is a great film.
Eternal Sunshine is really good. It is not to Godfather level. There are really interesting themes.
I come back to this. It would be Godfather 2 because I think it's more of an important movie, but it's the last scene when they are running off into the beach and it's winter and they keep replaying in Eternal Sunshine when they keep replaying them going forward. And it keeps repeating, and the music keeps repeating. And I go, wow, this movie is going to keep going. Sorry, I spoiled it. But what they went through is going to keep happening again and again. And that's what hits me.
It's a dramatic ending.
Yes.
What are you guys voting for, though?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
The Godfather Part 2. I actually, since I've watched it, I am really struggling to stop talking about it.
Okay.
I loved both these movies. I prefer The Godfather Part 1, but I love them. They're great.
And you guys know me. I've never been big on gangster dramas, mafia dramas,
but it is the one that transcends them all.
This is one that breaks through that barrier.
Right.
I'm like,
I agree with you. I actually thought I would not like this movie because I don't like gangster and mob movies, but this one is different.
It is, and while Eternal Sunshine is one of my all-time favorite movies,
Same.
a personal favorite.
Yep,
I'm pulling a Kent here and voting out my darling. And letting Godfather Part 2 go through because I feel it is the more drama of dramas.
Right, Godfather 2 moves on.
That hurt.
If history's taught us anything, it says you can kill anyone.
Now we have Whiplash versus Inception.
I love this one.
Weird.
Do you, though? Because you have to vote against one.
Yeah, and it really hurts because I'm probably going to pull a Kent here. I don't know. Because I was just about to say Whiplash because I think the character drama works so well. And that's what the movie's based on. But I go back to what do I care about at the end of Inception? And it's about him seeing his kids.
Dom.
Oh, that last part. Oh,
it's about him seeing his kids.
Dom and Mal.
Yes.
The storyline with his wife.
Yeah.
That is very interesting stuff. But also the storyline with Cillian Murphy and his relationship with his father.
Yeah, and that's often forgot about.
That is technically the A plot, but it feels like the B plot in this movie.
I'll go first. I'm voting for Inception. I do really like Whiplash. I mean, and like is a hard word to use because it is so unpleasant to watch. But Inception was that emotional breakthrough where I had those ups and downs and multiple times almost brought to tears or brought to tears.
You mean when he's going through the airport and Time is playing on the score?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Whiplash because I think that Inception is a really good cerebral action movie.
It is borderline action
with a soul. It is an action movie with a soul.
It is borderline action because they have that action sequence, especially near the end, with the car chase and the guns and all that.
The spinning Joseph Gordon-Levitt hallway thing.
Yeah, that
which is what you think of when you think of Inception, right?
Yeah, and the snow fortress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is to me. I mean, Nolan has even said this is his Bond movie.
I think when you think about Inception, you think about the action, but when you're watching it, for me, I think about his kids.
That's
I
why
think about when will he see their faces.
That's why it's sticking around.
Yeah. It's not about spinning top. It's what does he need to see?
The spinning top doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
There is no
whatever
spoon.
Because
it's whatever Dom accepts as reality.
Go, guys.
My reality is Inception wins.
Whoa!
Hiya!
Inception moves on. Happy Christopher Nolan to you all.
You're waiting for a train. A train that'll take you far away.
We move to the next round. We move pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, fine. Elite 8 here.
Oh my gosh.
This is the final round.
We gotta hurry. We gotta hurry.
Shawshank Redemption versus Saving Private Ryan.
I'm going first.
We'd like to thank our patrons.
Go first.
Shawshank Redemption.
Joel?
I think Saving Private Ryan is more simple, and it's a wonderful war film, but it's very simple with great performances. But then there's Shawshank Redemption.
It is, and I can't say anything bad about
nor should
either
you.
one of these movies.
Have we really had the need to talk about why Shawshank is good, or have we just
No, we haven't really
good?
talked about it.
I know.
to be
I really
honest.
think. Okay, let's give a little credit here because I think few movies in the world are as powerful as Shawshank Redemption. Like this, honestly, if I may put it in terms that some may understand, this movie drags your emotions through a river of filth, only to come out clean the other side. You get through the ringer during this movie, and then you get to the end, and you're like, wow.
I think what works about it is it has like a 5-act structure where you even get some victories at the end of it. Right? What's that?
You get victories along the way.
Hey, you get victories along the way, and then there's misery. And I think a good drama will make you think that there is no winning in the end. Mm-hmm. By the third act, you should feel hopeless until maybe there's victory or redemption. And a good drama pulls that off. And I think Shawshank does.
One of the best gasps of both literally and metaphorically at the end of a movie that you'll ever see.
And this has been, just to put it out there, the #1 film on IMDb's user-generated top 250 since 2008.
What about Paddington 2? It's not up there?
That's not Rotten Tomatoes. This is IMDb top 250.
I love Paddington 2.
When I think
Paddington 2 wins dramas.
wins everything.
Oh, Knuckles.
I am also voting for Shawshank Redemption.
I am also voting for Shawshank
Wow, that was a
Redemption.
final rounder.
Not even
It
a pity
absolutely
vote?
was. No, not even a pity vote.
Because Saving Private Ryan is so good. I just watched it today.
It's so good. There are other movies like it. There's nothing quite like Shawshank Redemption.
Remember, Red, hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies.
Right. Citizen Kane versus Braveheart.
Oh,
Zach, you go first.
We're in some all-timers. Okay, yeah, I guess I've been anti-Braveheart this whole time.
But also kind of anti-Citizen Kane.
I am not the biggest fan of Citizen Kane. I really liked it when I was studying film. I don't like it now that I just enjoy films. So I'm going to take Braveheart.
Me too.
Wow.
I'll give a pity vote to Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
I'll give it there because, man, it really is a well-done drama. I just feel like it's lost a lot of its punch because of time. Mm-hmm. And it is a little gimmicky at the end, but at the same time, if you don't know the ending, it's like, and once you understand what's going on, you're like, whoa. One of the great twists of early cinema. Braveheart gets it.
Every man dies. Not every man really lives.
All right, now I look at a matchup where I have made a mistake. Schindler's List versus Interstellar.
Wait, what did you put? What did you knock out for Interstellar?
Casablanca.
Oh, I think that's fine. Either one. Hey, guys, I would just like to thank you very much, guys. I'm glad we're all friends. I think this is the first bracket we've ever just been friends, and that may change.
We are scared of each other.
But thank you for letting Christopher Nolan go this far with Interstellar. I love this movie. I love it.
Hey, guys, we've been super nice to each other. This should be Schindler's List versus Titanic, you guys. Come on.
Even then, it would be easy.
It's still Schindler's List.
It's Schindler's List.
Okay.
Yes, it
Joel?
is Schindler's List.
Schindler's List moves on.
I could have gone one more person, and I didn't.
This is really obvious, guys. Our Final Four is super obvious.
We're at the Final Four?
No, we're almost there.
Oh!
The Godfather Part 2 versus Inception.
How much drama do you get from Godfather Part 2?
I get a lot of it.
You do?
Because it is a family drama. Mm-hmm. It's subtly a revenge tale that you kind of forget about with Vito. You kind of.
Do you like Michael though? Like, are you sad he gets betrayed?
I think you are sad to see his downfall.
I think you get that in the first movie though.
Well, I think you kind of have to follow his story along both movies. Mm-hmm. You can't have The Godfather 2 without knowing the base of The Godfather 1.
So does that hurt the movie?
Maybe. But his story is it is a fall
It
into
is.
this seedy world. In again, going back to the first one, Vito Corleone says, "I don't want this for you," and he not only does he get into it, he gets deep into it and worse into it, and he is made a worse person for it, and that is sad.
I'm voting for Godfather 2.
I'm also voting for the Godfather.
Okay, that's probably a good choice.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
All right. So our final four, which you probably could have guessed going into this,
Are we so
this
predictable?
This is pretty basic, but these are really good movies. We have The Shawshank Redemption against Braveheart, and then we have Schindler's List versus The Godfather Part 2. First up, Shawshank Redemption versus Braveheart.
So what? Okay, Zach,
you know me,
Zach. You have two movies on your shelf. This is what you've been doing every bracket.
Every bracket.
We've done. Which one do I feel like watching? And I know sometimes you go against that logic.
Sometimes,
but of these two, okay, I think I know where you're going here. Is it Shawshank? Even though it's a little bit heavier,
Shawshank is, I think, one of the most watchable movies because even though it is a little bit heavier, you're coming out okay in the end.
Okay,
Braveheart, you're getting some ball.
For me, and I don't know where I'm going here. If we're going favorites, Braveheart is preferred. Yeah. I like Braveheart way more than Shawshank, but I respect Shawshank as one of the best films ever made.
Yes.
I'm broken. I'm just staring off in the distance because these are both 5 stars for me.
Andy Dufresne.
You
have Morgan Freeman becoming Morgan Freeman. This is before he was a cliche.
And I'm just saying the cliche does feel like I should just vote for Shawshank Redemption. I watched it 2 days ago, and I didn't cry.
What?
I didn't cry.
I don't think this is a crying movie.
But I felt a lot. I felt things the entire time, but I didn't cry.
I've never cried in this
because I feel like you kind of feel misery with Andy as he goes up until maybe things change, right?
Andy Dufresne.
You're just going to say that?
If I say any more, it might spoil the movie. These are both really, really well-made movies.
I want to make it tough for Joel, but I think there's a right choice, and I'm going to go against my heart. And I do think Shawshank should go forward. I'm just going to throw it out there. Joel?
So you vote for Shawshank?
I think Shawshank. So
I'll give my pity vote to Braveheart.
Should I go Braveheart too?
No, I think that's the right decision.
It is the right decision. I prefer Braveheart.
So good. I like both these movies so much. When I'm thinking drama of dramas, though, Braveheart is definitely up there, but I think Shawshank has the edge.
Just think about that moment when you're like, oh, he's getting out of here. He's getting out of prison.
James Horner versus Thomas Newman.
Oh,
the scores.
Yeah. Shawshank Redemption moves into the final round.
Of course it does.
Get busy living. You get busy dying.
Now we have Schindler's List versus The Godfather Part 2. I think this really boils down to, if this was Schindler's List versus The Godfather, we're having a different conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is the fact that this is a sequel hurting it, or do we asterisk saying that you have also seen The Godfather Part 1?
But also, do we asterisk everything that's in the Shawshank Redemption being like hitting you over the head with history, right? This is all the ugly parts that we've seen.
With Schindler's List.
And that we've read about, and it's showing it to us. And so it hurts. This whole movie hurts, right? And so the feelings are there. Is that emotional manipulation or great filmmaking, right?
With Schindler's List, it was one of those movies that like Spielberg didn't want to make. Mm-hmm. He kind of said, I can't do that. I'm not mature enough to do that. And so he tried to pass it off to a couple different people and then ended up falling back.
I don't think anyone could have made this movie but him.
No, exactly. He felt a responsibility like, no, I have to do this.
And I think
he made it the same year as Jurassic Park, which he actually had to make. The studio said, you have to make Jurassic Park first. Because after you make Schindler's List, you're probably not going to be able to make Jurassic Park.
Wow.
And he had to he'd come home and just an emotional wreck after each day of shooting. They were shooting almost on location, literally building just outside of the death camps because they didn't want to film inside because I felt irreverent. And so they're so near where all these terrible things happened. And every night they said he watched Seinfeld and Robin Williams would call him, make him laugh.
To be quite honest, Schindler's List feels like they brought a camera back in the past. It feels like they are capturing actual history.
Because it's black and white.
Well, they did that.
They did that specifically to make it timeless.
It's the ugliness and the anxiety of what happened. And I think we're talking about it so much because I think it's the easy winner.
Let us be very clear. Morally speaking, this is a very easy choice.
Right.
Yes. It's easy to stand morally on with what's going on in Schindler's List versus the mob.
That's just it. It is hard to separate the true events from the cinematic filmmaking,
right?
In a case like this, but I think
don't you think both are great though?
Yeah,
it's an endlessly interesting story. How could this atrocity happen?
Yeah,
but also it's an extremely well made movie. The score is outstanding.
It is.
The acting's great.
It is. It is also very hard to watch.
Yes,
meaning almost too hard to watch.
Oh, I will watch The Godfather Part 2, I would say, within the next 6 months.
Yeah.
I'll watch both movies again.
I have to prepare myself to watch Schindler's List. I have to be buoyed up beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'm really looking forward to literally the opening scene of The Godfather. What a great movie. And then this just carries on that. But Schindler's List. Man.
Schindler's List moves on.
The list is an absolute good. The list is life.
How did we get here? How did we get to exactly where you would guess we would be? This is Pearl Jam versus Nirvana. This is where you should always have been. Shawshank Redemption versus Schindler's List.
Lots of swooshes in there.
I am just going to tell my experience of watching both, and I watched these both within the past couple of days. First, Schindler's List. Watching the movie, obviously very heavy, as we've discussed, it's Schindler's List. And I was kind of sitting there going, man, I'm so hurt by this movie. And then I found my weakness. And my weakness came at the very end of the movie. And truly, this was last night at about 11. Maybe I was overly tired, maybe still jet lagged. And spoiler alert for Schindler's List, when the people that were saved by Oscar Schindler are walking black and white over the hill, and they were singing that song, not even the theme of the movie. They were singing that Jewish traditional song. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting freaking chills thinking about it. The camera goes color, and you see the survivors, the real survivors.
The real people
in
walking
the 90s.
next to the actors who played them.
And you're walking. I bawled. It was Joel Worthy bawling. You know what happens to me when I start crying during movies? Cut it out, dude. Like, seriously? What are you even doing? And then I go, you know what? Freaking accept it. Let it happen. And as they're placing the rocks on that gravesite, I cried for 10 minutes.
It's cathartic.
And I went, oh my gosh, I need to watch Emperor's New Groove after this, because I am just, I had to let it out. That said, there is more variety of drama in Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
It's giving you everything you could possibly want. Maybe doesn't hurt as much, but it does give you hope, but it's maybe not real hope either.
Shawshank Redemption is more entertaining.
Yes.
And I don't think it's like that close, actually.
Right.
But we're talking drama.
And it's hard, right? Because we've talked a little bit about villains, and Eamon Goth, Ray Fiennes as that villain, is one of the most. We could have a villain show, and he would be top tier.
Ooh, I wouldn't want to.
I would
not real life villains. That'd be hard.
There are so many aspects to both these movies that are,
but at the same time,
such great filmmaking.
Schindler's List is one of those movies where it is so hard to watch that it's hard to watch. Meaning, like, I don't know.
The camera is not panning away.
No, it is accessibility and entertainment, which there's something to be said in the art of filmmaking.
It's true.
Doing something where you can't take your eyes away,
right?
Versus you want to look away because what is happening is so horrible. Almost horror film level, because it was horrific events that happened, but it's a drama. That's where I'm having a hard time here, because it's the filmmaking versus the hard to watch filmmaking. Like, so ugly you want to look away, but you can't.
So just to give some numbers while you guys are thinking. So like we said, The Shawshank Redemption is number 1 on IMDb. Schindler's List is number 6 on IMDb. Now go to AFI for dramas, because they do have a top films of all time. That's just their drama list. Shawshank is number 12. And Schindler's List is number 6. So these movies are close. That's why they're top 2. They deserve to be here.
Have any of you actually voted yet?
No,
I don't even know.
I just had to tell my experience about Schindler's List because it hit me.
4 to 6 days later.
I'm going to go first. Are you guys allowed to
jerk. You're going to lock it in
first? Once again, the amazing variety of The Shawshank Redemption is masterfully crafted.
He straight up builds a library and you're rooting for him.
What
the heck, man?
I love it.
Yeah,
it's
on the
roof.
How?
Seen on the roof. I don't even tar. I've never tarred a roof before.
I've never tarred a roof before. I don't drink.
Yeah,
and I'm
but
still
I wanted to be there.
You guys did great.
There are a few filmmaking things I don't love about it, which is the voiceover. I think it's a little played.
Voiceover narration, not my favorite.
Yeah,
but I don't like voiceover narration when it tells you exactly what's happening in the moment. I feel like Morgan Freeman paints a picture.
And it also assists the passage of time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's a 19-year story.
I'm okay with narration if it's used effectively.
It's a 19-year story with flashbacks.
So there's a variety of drama with the Shawshank Redemption. I think there's, not even in a bad way, but one solid note and then an amazing turn for me at the end of drama for Schindler's List. Actually, that's disingenuous because I think there's obviously fear, anxiety. It's not just like, it's sad the whole time.
No.
There's a mix of the depths of the soul. But for drama and for what I felt the other day, it was Schindler's List.
Which one sticks with you? Which one sticks to you?
Because I'd rather watch Shawshank Redemption easily.
Absolutely.
What I felt,
if I'm choosing to watch one of these two, like look, DVD's up there. I'm choosing Shawshank,
and I don't think it's like
who. At what point?
Yeah,
sincerely, at what point are you going through the video store and you're like, I'm going to buy Schindler's List?
Right. And
I don't even own that movie.
And I don't think it's disrespectful to vote against Schindler's List just because of history. I don't. Right.
Well,
these are movies
we're not voting about events. We're voting about a film.
A movie. Yeah.
But what I felt more in was Schindler's List.
If this were a list of personal favorites, Shawshank would win for me.
Okay.
Zach, you said something earlier where you said, which is the more drama of dramas?
Drama of dramas.
I'm going to vote for Schindler's List as well.
Have we ever had a clean sweep final round?
You too.
Are you going to?
I think I'm going to go with Schindler's List. Like I talked myself into it.
Wow.
I did not expect to go that way.
No, I didn't either. But it was really when you said which one is the more drama, because I'm like, of course I like Shawshank more. I rated it higher because
drama doesn't just mean sad.
So hard to
we
watch.
know this.
No, it doesn't just mean sad. But it's just so well done in the sense of presenting this emotion, but also it does give you hope at the end. It's not just sad.
Yeah.
The ending is, the reason you cried isn't because of sadness, it's because of the hope that the Schindlerjuden had.
Yes.
When they were able to survive. Okay, well,
obviously, talking about Schindler's List at the end of a podcast is going to be a downer, regardless.
Yeah. Zach, you want to say the official win then?
With that, the drama of dramas is Schindler's List.
Wow.
I mean, that is a sentence that nobody's going to be too mad at, right?
If they are.
I'm a little surprised because I thought the other one would win.
So did I.
But do we have who picked?
Yes, we do.
Sure.
I just barely opened the list, and the person who submitted Schindler's List first,
multiple people did,
is none other than Chad Illam, the listener.
What? Wow.
The listener is going to receive some Baconsale merch.
Wow, everything's coming up, Chad.
Yeah, because he submitted it. So Chad will be reaching out to you.
Way to go with the cliche choice.
It's weird, sounds weird to say, but congratulations on picking Schindler's List.
A good run for the Twitter army on our brackets as well.
Yeah. But there we go. Let us know if you had a bracket that turned out the same way. You can post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We want to see your picks as well. And let us know how you thought we did. Because we'd like to hear from you, even with sad things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else feel weighed down?
Yeah, weighed down. I'll put some fun music at the end.
Please do.
Yeah.
Before we go, we want to thank patrons in a couple of categories, including the I Am the Listener tier, which is Ryan and Marley, Lady Terry A. Finley, Jennifer Kilkowski, Adam and Rachel Crump, Scott Sprague, Sir and Madam Hicks, Andrew's Doing a Big Jump, Rocky and Steph, Taylor Sanderson, Dave Kelly, Angela Plotz, Casey Cummings, Juice the Cooler King Swallow, and Briggs is Hot. Then we have our Bacon Council, which is Nicole D. Kale, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Star Wars expert Kyler, our favorite couple, the Madsons, Fish and Chips Are Delicious, Glow Clendaniel, Debbie Foster, and Beaker.
Thank you, patrons. You are the Casa to our Blanca. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me performing with Quick Wits. They perform at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quick Wits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kenny3DD. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Tumbling Mustard. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Please like that Facebook page and visit at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. Once you've done that, visit tpublic.com/Baconsale, where you can get yourself some merch. We always love to see it.
We do.
And then if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale. You can get all sorts of fun benefits, behind the scenes, bonuses, and we just also really appreciate the support. Patreon.com/Baconsale. So until next time, here's looking at you, listener.
Aww. killed Zach. Kent
with Kinder Bueno, with bags of bags.
Bags on bags. When you get the 4-pack, it's a bag with 4 bags, and inside every one of those bags is 2 more bags.
Went full Buster Bluth there.
Mother.
Bag.
Mother.
It's not a bag. Drama.
That's not my drama.
Tea.
I often think of the Roman Empire.
Call it.
You guys are both making the same hand-forward motion to me, and I'm feeling attacked.
Make it back. Legacy didn't make the list.
No, it didn't.
No. Tom Cruise and Tim Curry, no.
That is not the legacy or legacy.
I hate reading at movies.
And now all of us turn on subtitles on everything we watch.
Every movie.
He was bored of the plane. You merely attempted it.
You punch him right in the heart?
Right in the heart. Wow. Ken, you're so mature.
Oh, now? Now?
You're so mature.
It took 9 seasons. His teeth are somehow worse.
He's so cute, though. He's got a baby face.
Look at him, little Henry.
But he's still handsome.
Your breakfast cereals are made by tigers in the jungles of Malaysia who are forced into slave labor.
It's like the road with more laughs.
Kevin Bacon's flat top. Oh, my word.
Right.
It's so good.
Tough you as Marshall.
Scraps.
Zachary Western.
It's not me. It's IMDb. One day I'm going to star in a movie about people talking in Europe. It's going to be serious.
Doesn't matter.
COVID made you grow a heart?
I love you, you moron.
Happy Christopher Nolan to you all.
It was Joel worthy bawling.
You two are among my best friends on this entire world, and you suck.